Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is story about What If Naruto x Sinestro Justice League Part 1. Before I start, please do support for more amazing content and comments for Part 2. Do consider to subscribe my channel and share my video to your friends and check out the description as well. Let's start the video. Brooklyn 2010 August 3th 12:35 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. A mixed Japanese teen can be seen resting on a couch watching the news. The boy had sun-kissed spiky blonde hair with bangs to the sides with blue eyes and tan skin. He was wearing an orange shirt with an unzipped black hoodie and with white sneakers. Yet, his mind was focused on something else. In a green ring that was resting on the middle finger of his right hand, to be more specific. A green ring with a lantern-like symbol. You have the ability to overcome great fear. Welcome to the Green Lantern Corps. Words like that could change a life forever. And in this case it did. If you told somebody a year ago that regular high school student Naruto Namikaze was a superhero, there was going to be only one simple reaction to the idea. Utter laughter at the idea. Though to be fair, even Naruto himself couldn't blame anyone if they do this. After all, even he never imagined himself as a superhero. But after being chosen by a flying ring, being dragged kilometers away from the city to the woods, meeting an agonizing alien, burying him, helping defeat another alien in a giant mecha suit who destroyed half of the city, and after all of that spending a few months being trained like a dog together with a squirrel, a matchstick with legs, an elf and a queen at the hands of a strange pink hippo/boar hybrid and a red demonic lady who seemed to take way too much pleasure insulting them, it finally started to stick. However, that doesn't mean he doesn't really appreciate a moment like this, watching TV with his first fan on a comfy couch. This is Kat Grant reporting for GBS News. At the site of the incident, Kat Grant was a blonde white woman wearing a pink blouse with a white line on the middle. Yesterday morning, the emblematic Seagull Memorial Bridge of Metropolis was the protagonist of what could have been an horror story, when one of his cables ripped itself, destabilizing the whole bridge and causing a school bus to lose control and almost falling to the river. Luckily for everyone involved, Superman and an unknown associate could stabilize the bridge and rescue the passengers before a catastrophe could happen. But now the question in everyone's minds: who is this mysterious teen of steel? Did Superman decided to follow his friends at the Justice League footsteps and get himself a protege of his own, or is he just a super-powered fanboy dying to work with his hero? This and more after this messages, reported Kat to her audience. Naruto for his part wasn't really interested in the news. After all, he already knew of the super lad from Hal and John. Apparently he was a clone of the original Men of Steel that was rescued from a governmental facility for the Justice League covert unit and was now working with them, too. According to them, he had anger issues and a difficult personality, which Naruto can see clearly on the video. Still, he did try to save the bus, so he can't be all bad. Plus, I'm sure Tomari would be happy when he learns there is another Kryptonian running around, thought Naruto after watching the video. I think he looks kinda cute, said Naruto #1 fan who was sitting on his lap while he was playing with her red hair. She was Naruto's younger sister Rumi. This innocent comment caused Naruto to frown his face. He was an overprotective big brother, sue him. That it. He is going down, no hesitation, full kryptonite bullets, screw Tomari. Stop it, Naruto. Don't be mean. No. I don't wanna, and who is gonna stop me, a squirt like you? I'm not a squirt, I am a young lady, who can take care of herself, proclaimed Rumi while putting herself on the tip of her feet and trying to reach her big brother. So you can take care of yourself, right? Replied Naruto with a confident smirk on his face, and from which Rumi replied with a confident nod. Let me tell you something I learned with the GLC. A super secret fighting technique created to fight the Gordanians on outer space. But first you need to come closer. After saying that, Rumi started to come near her brother, and when they were face to face, it happened. Her brother pounced himself from his seat in the couch, and grabbed Rumi from her armpits, and dragged to the air. Pull me down. Naruto, this is not funny, she said while kicking to the air, trying to free herself from her brother's grip only to fail. Agreed to disagree. I think this is hilarious. Now let's play rocket, said Naruto just before tossing Rumi to the air. With Naruto couldn't help but burst into laughter as Rumi sailed through the air, her red hair trailing behind like a comet. The sheer joy on her face turned her protests into gleeful laughter, and Naruto just caught her when she descended. That was awful, you jerk, replied Rumi after starting punching her brother's leg while sticking her tongue to him. Naruto for his part seemed to think that the attempt of his little sister to act like she is angry is adorable. I spy with my little eye a smile on that face, the blonde mocked her, but not before ruffling the little girl hair. I get you for this transgression, old man, declared Rumi before trying to attack her brother, only for Naruto to ignore her. After all, he was 15 years old while she was just 9, and he enjoyed the roughhousing and, most importantly, that what elder siblings do, annoy their younger ones and later ignore them while they lash out. You are just too cute. Did I ever tell you that? I'm not cute, protested the little girl to her older brother. The angrier you get, the cuter you are, replied Naruto before grabbing her sister and caught her in a tight bear hug. Release me. You big ape, I want my freedom. Mom! Save me! Naruto enjoyed the moment with her little sister, who after protesting for a few seconds returned the hug to her sibling. Until suddenly Naruto felt something on his pants. After that he took a few steps away from his little sister and reached for his pocket to look for his cell phone. It was a simple message from his friend/big brother figure. HJ Highball, Blondie, we need to talk. The team got a mission. And there goes his plans for the day, though Naruto couldn't say he wasn't excited about this. After all, he had been craving for action for a while. And if anything happened, well, he always keep his ring charged for a reason. Happy Harbor 2010 August 3th 13:04 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Inside the hidden base of Mount Justice, 5 teenagers waited patiently for a briefing along with the Justice League members Red Tornado and Batman. The 5 teens consisted of 1 female and 4 males, each wearing different attire. The first we come across was the sidekick/adopted son of the famous Batman of Gotham City, Grayson aka Robin the Boy Wonder, who was the youngest of the group at age 13 yet the most experienced of the team, starting his career at the age of 9. He was the team's tech specialist, but often failed to hang back when the situation called for it. The Boy Wonder wore a costume consisting of red and black tights similar to a gymnast's underneath a black and yellow cape. A domino mask hid his eyes and his raven hair was a short mess, as though he ruffled it with his hands. The next, the elected leader, was Aqualad, known also as Calder HM, or simply Calder, a 16-year-old Atlantean representative. He was voted by the team to be their leader thanks to both his military training and maturity. His hair was light blonde with a buzz cut, contrasting his dark skin tone, and his eyes were a very light blue. A skin-tight red shirt and dark blue tights was his choice of attire, and strapped to his back was his waterbearers, the most recent development in Atlantean warfare tech. The tallest of the 5 was Superboy, or the Teen of Steel, who had yet to take up a civilian name, a clone of the powerful Kryptonian Superman, and he was physically 16. He was tense and seemed ready to snap, partially due to his still confused state of mind. Raven hair cut short adorned the top of his head and equally dark blue irises surrounded his pupils. He has the simplest outfit of all teens, with only wearing a black shirt with the crest of the House of L, navy cargos and brown combat boots. Standing to the side and eyeing the Boy of Steel was John's niece Megan Morse, or Megan Morse aka Miss Martian, the only girl part of the team. The Martian girl was technically 48, making her the oldest of the group, but it was the equivalent to being 16 on Earth, so she never brought it forward. She had light green skin and shoulder-length orange hair. A white shirt covered her modest bust and torso and had a red X on it, similar to her uncle's attire, and a blue skirt that ended mid-thigh matched her cape and boots. The last member of the group was playing around with an orange. This was Kid Flash, Wally West, the nephew of the Flash who had recreated his uncle's chemical to become the sidekick of his favorite hero. He wore a reverse coloration of his uncle's outfit, but with red pants, gloves, and goggles. The speedster and self-proclaimed ladies' man of the team was utterly bored and sick of waiting. It had only been 15 minutes. "Come on, how long are they gotta keep us here?" Kid Flash said loudly while crossing his arms in exasperation. Batman just glared the speedster for his little comment, who gulped in fear. I'm sure we can do something more useful than just standing around," he said nervously at the bat. We just fought Amazo yesterday." Batman just said we are waiting for someone to start this briefing. He is the newest member of the team. Kid Flash perked up when he heard that. "That means Roy is finally joining the team, sweet," said Kid Flash while punching the air in excitement, while looking at his old friends Aqualad and Robin, who smiled at the idea. "I know that after he helped us out with Amazo he wouldn't resist to join us." Recognize Green Lantern 0-5. Recognize Naruto Namikaze A0-7. From a white portal in the cave appeared 2 figures. The first one was Naruto, and the other was Captain Hal Jordan Aka Green Lantern aka 2814.1. He was a Caucasian man with short brown hair. He was wearing a green domino mask and a uniform that was green in the torso, arms and boots, and black in the rest of it. Also, the uniform's most defining feature was the white circle on his chest with the Green Lantern Corps symbol on it. "So this is a Zeta beam," said Naruto before turning to Hal. "Do they always felt this weird? It's like I have a buzzing running through my entire body." "More or less, but you get used to it," replied Hal. "Sorry for the delay, Bats, we accidentally took the scenic route. But hey, better late than never, right?" said the Green Lantern with a cocky smile on his face to the Dark Knight. Batman didn't dignify that with a response. Well, for my part, I'm happy you could join us today, said Aqualad, who just approached the lanterns. My name is Calder HM, this are Gan, Superboy, Wally, and Robin. Welcome to the team, said Aqualad while holding out his hand, which Naruto shook. Thanks, it's a pleasure to be included. Just a quick question, are you guys sure about the name? Is kinda unoriginal. This took a few people by surprise. They never actually really thought much about the team name. I mean, they were a team, so being called the team worked. We never actually thought of it, clarified Aqualad truthfully, but maybe that is something we need to do later. Look, Naruto, right? Said Aqualad to the other blonde, who nodded at the question. I don't want to be rude or anything, but as team members we need to know about your skills, so we can see what you can and can't do, so can you do us a favor of a minor demonstration? Yeah, Naruto, show us your powers, said Gan excitedly. Unless you don't have any powers, which is cool. I mean, look at Robin, he doesn't have any powers and he is cool, so in case you don't have powers, you don't really need them, right buddy? I've been talking for too long. Don't worry cutie, said Naruto while winking at Gan, who blushed at the blonde compliment. I don't really have any powers of my own, but I can do something really cool. Let me show you guys. But maybe you guys need to step aside, it get well shiny. Naruto extended his hand, and just like that his once blue eyes turned emerald, and suddenly it happened. The entire cave was surrounded for emerald light that blinded everyone's sight, forcing them to turn around their sight out of Naruto. This lasted for a few seconds. And then they saw it. Naruto right now was wearing both a green domino mask and a suit that was green on his legs and around his stomach. Meanwhile, it was black, and all his upper side included his abs and torso, and with gloves and boots of the same color. The GLC symbol was around his triceps and on his back, the suit of the cover. I'm a Green Lantern, but probably not the one you were expecting, replied Naruto with a smile and a small bow to the team, who were stupefied at the reveal. I didn't know the Earth had a third Green Lantern, Wally whispered to Robin, who was processing this information. Fourth actually, damn, they always forget, Guy answered Naruto, remembering the hot-headed lantern. I knew you looked familiar, said Robin. Really, from where? Asked Naruto with genuine curiosity. He never really did anything noteworthy as a lantern on Earth. Well, you destroyed half of New York fighting a giant robot. And there it was, his famous debut. In hindsight, it was a miracle he didn't got himself killed fighting Legion. First of all, it wasn't robot, it was an alien bug wielding a power suit. Second of all, I didn't destroy half a city, I saved half a city. That wasn't what Batman file said. Batman got a file of me. I don't know if to feel flattered or intimidated, said Naruto with genuine curiosity. While the idea of someone tracking his movements didn't feel right for him, a big part was also kinda impressed that a Justice League founder took interest of him. Don't be. Batman got files on everyone, rookie, said Kid Flash in a moody tone. Apparently he still wasn't over the idea of someone taking his friend Roy's place on the team. Naruto cringed at the response. While Mom was right. That guy really is a nut job, Naruto thought, thinking of his mother, but he can't blame her according to how all cops hate Batman, and his mom was a detective of the NYPD. Ignoring the chatter, Batman said, now that we are all here we can finally start this briefing. He then activated an holographic panel which revealed a 3D version of a map. The previous week, the League captured notorious mobster Roman Siones aka Black Mask. Siones since the last 6 months has been in charge of selling all new kinds of weapons from an unknown buyer from Gotham to the whole East Coast. Thanks to the interrogation made by Martian Manhunter and me, we obtained the intel that Mask was supposed to receive a new shipment tomorrow in Dublin. The team will go undercover as Siones and his subordinates and stop the deal. Is that clear? Commanded Red Tornado. After being dismissed, the team went preparing themselves for their means, preparing the gadgets, tools, etc. Meanwhile, Miss Martian and an irritated Kid Flash gave a little tour to the cave to their team newest member. While Red Tornado does check on us, he is mostly cool with giving us all the space we want. The Martian stopped for a second like she was thinking of something. And when we aren't doing missions we hang out, like watching movies, or playing video games. The reception in this place is amazing for just being a cave. Naruto just noted, he can see Gan is trying her hardest to be inclusive and friendly to him. In a way he can relate, considering he also been in her shoes once, in a strange planet to join a strange team surrounded by aliens whose customs seem strange to you. At least Hal, John, and to a much lesser extent Guy do give good advices that made the 4 months he spent on basic training, while not easy, more bearable. 3. To this day he still got bruises with Sergeant Catman's name on them. However, these thoughts seemed to cease when they got to the hangar. Naruto never believed in love at first sight, but in one moment he understood what his dad had been trying to teach him when he was just a little kid. Her wings were semicircular and seemed to end in two pointy-like things that to Naruto seemed to resemble tusks. All around the middle was the cockpit, and all decorated in a red and black motif. Is beautiful, said Naruto with star on his eyes. He wanted to touch it, but should he do it? Is that improper in some way, should he ask? But to whom? Miss M or the ship itself? Screw, he is going to touch her anyway. Yeah, that the bio ship, added Gan. We bonded on Mars, and now we use her when we need to go to mission or joyrides. That is amazing. You need to let me borrow it. I'm not sure. For her part, Gan didn't really much trouble with sharing her stuff. The problem was with bioship. Please. I promise that I'm going to take care of her. I would never harm such a pretty lady. Look, it's not like I don't want to borrow it, it just... What if it's just the two of us? Naruto proposed. Then you can see I would never harm such a pretty lady. Beep beep. Correction, such a pretty young lady. Beep, said the bio ship in approval of the arrangement. Well, if the bio ship agree with that, then I think you can take it for a spin, sighed Gan in response. Really, thank you, replied Naruto excitedly. Calm down, newbie, it's just a ride, said Kid Flash, a little annoyed at the blonde. The guy doesn't even have 5 minutes on the team, and he already got a date with Gan, was the thought that currently was running around the redhead mind. After all, he made it more than clear that he liked Gan. Sadly, it seems she had him in the friend zone. Well, his Uncle Barry always said that persistence is the greatest superpower of them all, and considering that advice was from a time when he was just Barry, it has much more merits to Wally. Yeah, I guess you're right, I just got a little excited. I always wanted to try a biotech ship in action. Though I guess the bioship is more like biopsychotech. Actually, the term is psychobiotech. Right, thanks, Gan. Don't worry, Naruto. Call me Neru. All my friends do that. Thanks, Neru, replied Gan with a blush on her face. Meanwhile, Wally was watching the whole exchange between the Martian and the Lantern, and he come to one simple conclusion: I really don't like the new guy. Dublin, 2010. August 3th. 22:09 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. After arriving in the docks Dublin, the team was split in 2 squads, the first one in which Miss Martian, Superba and Green Lantern will impersonate Mask and his men. Meanwhile, the second squad will wait to ambush the weapon dealers. Gan right now looked like a man in his 30s, with her most defining feature being the black skull-like face. She now possessed all of this while she was dressed as a sharp white suit with a black undershirt, and with a white tie to finish the look. For all intent or purposes, she was Roman Sione's famous Gotham gangster. She was Black Mask. Next to her, Naruto, who created a simple black suit with a green dress shirt and sunglasses with his ring like it was just another GL uniform, one of the perks of having the strongest weapon in the universe in his hands. And finally it was Superba, who was clearly uncomfortable in his outfit, and was wearing a typical black and white suit with black sunglasses commonly seen in mobsters. For how long do I have to wear this stupid monkey suit? Is like a 1000 degrees with this, said Superba while scratching his neck. Obviously he wasn't used to wear things like that. I don't know how can people move like this, is like is strangling my whole body. I think you look great, Superboy, said Gan through their mental link. Really classy, finished the idea the Martian, to which Naruto irked an eyebrow, now understanding a little bit more of the team dynamics. And waiting for an hour with the clone and the Martian, it was obvious. The Martian likes Superboy and the boy is fond of her. Well, he hopes he took it well when or if Gan show her true form. While Naruto is not someone guided by looks, he knows that they do play a crucial part of a relationship. And well, Martian's true form do leave an impression to first-time viewers. Well. If isn't my favorite, my Gothamite. Everyone's thoughts were interrupted when a woman with dark skin, blonde hair with a darker undercut, and blue eyes appeared suddenly. She was wearing a blue turtleneck with gray pants and black boots and jacket. Sorry for the delay. We had to make extra preparations. Don't worry, just make sure everything is ready for the deal, replied Gan smoothly, trying to play the role of a mafia boss. The woman nodded, then turned to Superba and GL. And who are those two? Your new muscle? She asked, eyeing them up and down. Yeah, they are our new muscle. Don't mind them, they are not much of a talkers, Miss Martian said, trying to deflect attention away from Superba's discomfort. The woman raised an eyebrow but didn't press further. All right then, let's get this deal done, she said, leading them towards the meeting spot. As they approached the designated area, Naruto kept a close eye on their surroundings, ready for any signs of trouble. He knew that things tend to go south quickly in this type of operation. Guys were on the move, said Naruto through their mental link. The area was another part of the docks. They were surrounded by giant shipping containers. The woman seemed relaxed. She has probably done this 1,000 times. She obviously got experienced in these kind of situations. The type you get after a year of well-done jobs. Good. Well, everything is set up. The shipment will arrive shortly. We'll get everything loaded onto your trucks, and you can be on your way, she said, nodding towards a group of men who were unloading crates from a nearby ship. However, there is just one little bit of problem, the woman said, whispering on Gan's ear. What kind of problem? Said Gan, trying to hide any possible fear she could have about being caught. Is just a small little one, said the woman while approaching Gan until they were just a few centimeters away from her face. Gan could feel the sweat going down her face but tried her best to downplay to not look suspicious. Roman Siones is currently in a holding cell in the States. After saying, a spark of electricity from the woman's hand flew directly to Gan, hitting her on the chest and shoving her to the floor after revealing her normal form. Gan! Shouted Superba after seeing his friend attacked. Do you really think I'm so stupid? Black Mask is second-rate mobster who think he is an A-lister. I got him monitored by spies so he doesn't fuck up any business we wanted to do. Imagine my surprise when he set up a meeting a few days after he was arrested by Batman. The woman said after starting to levitate to the air as her skin was beginning to turn blue and her hair was beginning to standing up. You can see bolts of electricity running through the air while eyes starting to glow a bright blue as the energy was starting to run through her body. Name's Livewire, and with my OMACs we are your worst nightmare. After saying that, the crate beginning to open, revealing 3 giant robots of at least 10 feet each. The robots were built in a way that they resembled a muscular men, but their most defining feature was the red visor-like eye on their face combined with their blue skin and the fin-like thing at the top of their heads. It made them feel like a hunter chasing a small animal, which, as the heroes quickly realize, is what they are. Because they weren't robots, they were OMAC, the one-man army corps. OMC? Asked Gan, her voice trembling slightly as she picked herself up from the ground. One-man army corps, replied Livewire with a sinister grin. They're my little pets and they're going to tear you apart. Nothing personal, kid. To be honest, I was expecting the Martian Manhunter, or at least Plastic Man, not well, Martian Girl Hunter, and her band of Justice League Junior wannabes, said Livewire in a dismissive tone. To her credit, she really was disappointed. She really wanted to test her weapons against real threats, and 3 nobodies isn't the same. Well, beggars can't be choosers, she guessed. After snapping her fingers, she said, Omax destroyed the Justice babies. The OMAC started to glow red at her master command, preparing themselves to eliminate their targets. At least at what they were planning, until a smoke bomb was thrown at them, obscuring all the view on the battlefield, causing all involved to try to cover their eyes to protect themselves of the smoke. Out of the smoke appeared Aqualad, Robin, and Kid Flash. The last one apparently took the time to took Gan in a bridal way during the confusion. Don't worry, Megalicious, your knight in golden armor gotcha, said Wally to a still dizzy Gan. Apparently the attack was stronger than she was used to. Is that Aqualad, Robin, and Flash Boy? Questioned Livewire. Kid Flash, why is that so hard to remember? You guys really are the Justice League Junior, said Livewire in a mocking tone. Why are you guys even here? Do you want your daddies to give you a pat on the back or maybe an edible for beating a bad guy while they watch TV on the sofa? Angered at Livewire taunting, Superboo ripped his suit buttons, revealing his typical S shirt, and he leaped himself through the air ready to punch her in the face. However, before he could hit her, Livewire eyes glowed and she evaded Superboo with a little sidestep, but not before shooting another bolt of lightning directly at Superboo's back. You may wear the S-boy, but you aren't Superman. Next time I would shot to your brain, not your back. Caught off guard, Superboo stumbled forward from the impact of Livewire's attack, his muscles tensing in pain, with him struggling to get up. Naruto, at seeing this, frowned and then turned to Calder and said, I'm going after her. With Miss M grounded, I'm the only one here who could fly. So I'm gonna beat that overgrown battery while you 5 beat the other robots. Hey newbie, we get you want to impress us vets, but you don't make the choices, Kid Flash said to the blonde who just tuned to the speedster, annoyed. Can you drop it with the newbie already, Twinkle Toes? I may be a Green Lantern, but I ain't green, you know. I fought guys on space that would make you wet your pants so fast that you could really be the Flash, said Naruto before turning back to Aqualad again. Also, I wasn't asking for permission for. Calder appeared between both teams and tried to defuse the situation. Kid GL is right, the last thing we need is more enemies, and without Mgan we are at direct disadvantage against Livewire. Also, without their master commanding them, it may weaken the robot processing, said Calder before turning to his fellow blonde and saying, do what you most, the team will cover you. And with that, Naruto nodded to the leader and switched back to his GL uniform, flew through the air directly to Livewire. Twinkle Toes? Said in a mocking tone Robin. Don't start, Rob. We have bigger fishes to fry anyway. And with that, the OMACs attacked the team. Hey ya big puzzer. Let's settle this one-on-one, taunted Naruto while preparing himself with a typical boxing upright stance. Or you scared, you big blue chicken? Livewire just smiled in the taunt and said, I'm so going to enjoy wipe that smirk of your face, pretty boy. You think I'm pretty, I'm flattered, but I'm not into grandmas. And for that you are going to die, she said before extending her arms and releasing a giant electric beam directly to the blonde. However, Naruto just created a green bubble to protect, and much to Livewire's surprise, the bubble tanked through the whole blast like it was nothing. Now is my turn, and with that Naruto created a cannon of the size of his arm and delivered a direct blast that Livewire could barely evade. You little BR, attempted to say Livewire before Naruto smashed her with a giant boxing glove construct direct to the her and catapulting her straight to the ground. The impact of the boxing glove construct sent Livewire crashing to the ground, dazed and disoriented. Naruto hovered over her, his green energy crackling around him like lightning. Is that all? Weren't you gonna teach me my place? Naruto taunted, his voice laced with confidence and defiance. Embarrassed that one of the what do you call us babies, wannabes is beating you, aren't ya? Livewire struggled to get up, her body still reeling from the powerful blow. You little punk, she growled, her eyes narrowing with fury. I'll make you pay for that. And suddenly she started to glow brighter than she did in all night, and then when she was basically a human lightning bolt, she charged straight to Naruto. Naruto, for his part, decided to counter, creating a bullet train construct and sending it directly to Livewire, who crashed directly. It was a contest of strength between the villain and the lantern, but Naruto's construct proved to be stronger, as it pushed Livewire back with tremendous force. The impact sent Livewire crashing into a nearby shipping container, leaving a dent in the metal. She groaned as she struggled to get back on her feet, clearly weakened by the blow. Naruto floated down to the ground, his green construct dissipating as he approached Livewire. Had enough yet, or you want to be more humiliated, he taunted, a smirk playing on his lips. For my part, one can do this all night, but I think my friends need me. Naruto, after seeing her on the floor, decided to end thing, and with his ring he created a small construct directed to Livewire. Livewire tried to move, but she couldn't. Her body suffered too much punishment, and doesn't matter how much she wanted, it refused to listen to her. But in the end it was to light the bear Naruto created struck her, and it formed a collar on her neck along with big and heavy green cuffs with the GL symbol for her arms and legs, and in the end Livewire was beaten and immobilized in the floor. She lost. Livewire glared at Naruto with seething anger, her fists clenched tightly. Despite her weakened state, she refused to back down. You think you've won, Lantern? You may have beaten me this time, but I'll be back. And when I am done, you'll regret ever crossing paths with Livewire. Naruto chuckled, unfazed by her threats. Sure thing, Grandma. But next time, bring some better moves, alright? This was too easy, he retorted, his confidence radiating from every word. You little brat, this is not the last of me. I will get you for this. Even if it's the last thing I do. As Livewire continued to seethe and threaten, Naruto simply rolled his eyes, unimpressed by her persistence. With a wave of his hand, he activated his ring and created a green energy bubble construct to encase Livewire completely, effectively immobilizing her. Save it for someone who cares, Naruto said dismissively, his tone dripping with sarcasm. We'll make sure you're taken care of, Livewire. But for now, you're going away for a long time. After saying that, Naruto got close to her and said, You know, maybe when you get out you can work as a giant light bulb. Livewire growled in frustration as Naruto restrained her with the constructs. She struggled against the cuffs and collar, but they held her firmly in place. You won't get away with this, Lantern. I'll make sure of it. She spat, her voice filled with venom. Interrupting her, a giant red beam flew to the sky, dispelling all the nearby clouds of the way. Naruto quickly realized that it come from where the team was fighting the Omax. Naruto, already annoyed, created a punch construct for Livewire inside the bubble and knock her out. After that he flew. He needed to see if the team needed help. After Naruto flew off to fight Liverwire, the team was stuck fighting Omax. Kid Flash and Robin were stuck fighting one, and so was Aqualad and a for now recovered Miss Martian. The only exception was Superboy, who was fighting one alone. I'm the only who has gotten sick of having to fight robots. Every damn week, declared Superboy after throwing a giant crate to his own Omak, who responded by blasting through it with the laser from his eye. Me too. Mi amigo. Me too, said Kid Flash. These things are tough. We've been fighting them for a while, and it looks like everything we throw is useless. Sadly, Robin lamented that he has to agree with his best friend. Their attempts at combating the Omax proved mostly useless. Bombs created only smoke, speed tackles did little to no damage, even Superboy's powerful punches left no mark on the robots. Miss Martian's telepathy, typically a powerful tool against organic foes, proved ineffective against the mechanical minds of the Omax. We need a plan. How do you beat something that is built to be unbeatable, said Kid Flash while punching his own palm in anger. However, his comment did make Aqualad's eyes widen. He got an idea. Kid, you're a genius, said Aqualad to the confused speedster. How do you beat something that could destroy anything and is immune to damage? After saying that, the rest of the team starting to get what their leader was implying. Hello, Megan, is so obvious, said Gan while slapping herself in her forehead. We are not going to OMACs, they are going to destroy themselves, said Aqualad through the team mental link. Superbo, we need you to hold your OMAC head and aim to the other. Meanwhile, Miss Martian and me are going to do the same with our own. That still leave one OMAC around, said Robin. I know that the hard part, we need that you and Kid Flash to attract him directly through the laser beams. I know is risky, but... Calder, we know, don't worry, this is a piece of cake, replied Kid Flash while carrying Robin on his back. At count of 3 to your positions. 1, 2, 3 now, team. At the count of 3, Robin throw away all of his smoke bomb in an attempt to obscure the robot's vision. It seemed to work for a while. At least it was good enough time to let the rest of the team to get in their position. Hey Gearhead, bet you can shoot me, taunted Kid Flash to his own OMAC. The OMAC seemed to take offense at that shoot directly to the speedster. As the OMAC focused its attention on Kid Flash, Superboy grabbed his OMAC's head firmly, aiming it towards the others just as Aqualad and Miss Martian did with theirs. With a determined expression, Superboy prepared to execute the plan. Gan, Aqualad, are you ready? Superboy called out through their mental link. Ready, came the simultaneous responses from Miss Martian and Aqualad. Kid Flash darted around, leading the third OMAC in a chase, drawing its fire away from the others. Robin continued to assist by strategically placing more smoke bombs, further obscuring the OMAC's vision. With precision timing, Aqualad signaled to Superbo and Miss Martian to execute their part of the plan. With a mighty heave, Superbo redirected his OMAC's gaze towards the others, while Miss Martian used her telekinetic abilities to do the same with hers. Now! Aqualad commanded. In a coordinated effort, all 3 OMACs fired their powerful laser beams simultaneously. The beams collided, creating a volatile reaction as they converged on each other. The immense energy released caused a catastrophic explosion, engulfing the OMACs in a blinding flash of light and scattering debris in all directions. As the dust settled, the team cautiously emerged from their positions, surveying the aftermath. Miraculously, they found themselves surrounded by the disabled remains of the OMACs, their once almost invincible killing machines now reduced to scrap metal. We did it, Robin proclaimed with evident in his voice. Suddenly Kid Flash grabbed Robin in a one-armed hug with his right hand and with his right hand up in the air and said, "We are alive." Yes. You can hear the rejoice that was in the speedster voice at the sight of their friend. His team members couldn't help but smile. Wally saw one of the remains of the OMAC, just the remains of a destroyed head in the floor. He graved and just said, "Look, souvenir." However, their celebration was cut short when Naruto suddenly appeared with a captured livewire as a small green bubble right next to him. Wow. This was some party I missed, said Naruto watching the results of the explosion caused by the OMAC's destruction. This is nothing, those robots were a bunch of weaklings, one-man army corps, more like one lame army corps, sawed Wally trying to downplay the OMAC's danger. What happened to Livewire anyway? Naruto just revealed a still bounded Livewire inside his bubble construct, to which Kid Flash just nodded. I guess you didn't do bad. For a newbie at least, said Kid Flash to the lantern, who just decided to take the compliment. And you didn't do bad either. Twinkle Toes mocked Naruto. Is that going to stick? That remains to be seen. Twinkle Toes said Robin to his friend, who just grunted in annoyance. Now we only have one problem. What problem? Asked Superba. Who is going to tell Batman we destroyed a whole dock? Kyoto 2010. August 4th. 0:09 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. We can see a beautiful woman walking through a corridor surrounded by ninjas who are all bowing to her. At first glance, she looked like a tall Asian woman with short raven-colored hair, black lipstick, and brown eyes. Her outfit was skin-tight long-sleeved bodysuit with shoulder pads, a mandarin collar, and a diamond-shaped keyhole exposing her sternum. The bodysuit is blood red with dark gray stripes looped around her shoulders and forearms, and matching patches on her elbow pits. The woman's name was Sandra Wu San, or better known as the Nam de Guerre Lady Shiva, aka the most dangerous woman of the world. Is said that in Hong Kong just saying her name is enough to even broke the most hardened criminal, a truly living and breathing weapon to who fighting is just like breathing. Imagine a viewer surprised to see her kneeling before a man sitting on a chair, his face shadowed thanks to the dark of the room. Shirsho, said the woman respectfully in Japanese. I bring dire news from Ireland. The man just remained in silence, letting her continue. Leslie failed. Her attempt to execute the Black Mask impersonator failed, and she is currently being detained. E.U prison, preparing to be transferred to the U.S. And the OMAC? Was the only question the man asked to the assassin. His voice was deep and rough, implying a warrior heritage, but Shiva was unmuted. All three of them were destroyed, at the hands of a group of American heroes, was Shiva's only answer. The man just remained in silence, thinking about the problem the loss of his pet project could bring. Then, not a problem. Have Dr. Viper recover the data from the fight with the OMACs. We can use it so the next model doesn't have the issues of the prototype. Shiva made a light bow, making it clear she was going to carry that order. And what about Leslie? She asked. Don't worry, child. Leslie is just where we wanted right now. She is going to Belle Reve. We have plans for an operation inside the prison in just a few months, and we need more agents in that case. Also, Livewire could use her defeat as a lesson to grow. Reach her true potential. That was the men's only response to her subordinate question. I understand, replied Shiva, seeing the reason on their leader plan. Remember, child, all of this is to help the Red Dawn in his one true goal, said the men before taking a second so the assassin could process all the information. I know all the sacrifices we made are just with one simple purpose. To help the world see the light, or am I wrong, grandfather? The men could only smirk at his granddaughter's loyalty before turning around, with his eyes being the only light in the room, his red ruby-like eyes. Brooklyn, 2010. August 4th. 1:35 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Naruto, now back on his civvies, is entering his house. After seeing all the lights are off, he turned on his cell phone to use ironically as lantern. While he didn't fight the OMACs, he is still tired and wants to go back to his bed. Aren't you forgetting something, young man, said a voice directly from the kitchen. It was an Asian woman with long red hair up to her waist, all put in a ponytail, and gray eyes, who seemed oddly amused at seeing the blonde. She was wearing a dark green shirt with a turtleneck and black pants. The woman's name was Kushina Uzumaki, Naruto's mother. Mom, what are you doing? Shouldn't you be resting? Naruto said worriedly. Tomorrow you have a full shift, and you already worked a whole day. Don't worry, kiddo, one of the few perks of working as a cop is that you learn to live sleeping just a few hours a day, Kushina said excitedly. But Mom. But nothing. Did you eat something on the way? Naruto's answer was just silence. Sadly, his gut betrayed him at his worst moment, and started roaring. This caused Kushina to smile. Set the table, I'm going to heat the dinner. Mom, I told you I'm fine. Naruto, Namikaze. You will set the table and you will eat a full meal, then you can go to bed. Is that clear? Yes, ma'am. Don't worry, I made your favorite. Also remember to thank your uncle for babysitting Rumi the whole day. Yes, Mom. Now you can eat. While you told me how was your first day. Hal told me you went to Ireland. I hope it wasn't too cold? Naruto couldn't help but smile. After what happened to his dad, his mother was the only parent at the house, but she never complained. And she always supported all his goals. How many mothers will accept her son going to outer space and becoming a space cop? Though John and Hal helped a lot to convince her, Naruto was waiting for her to try shot Hal face with her service revolver. Naruto really loved his mom and will never do anything to hurt her. Naruto went up and hugged his mother, who, while initially a little confused, returned the hug to her only son. Nothing, Mom. Everything was great. Tadaima. Okiri Sochi, that was Kushina's only response while she hugged her son, and at least for that night everything was right in the world. Mount Justice. August 8th. Recognized Kid Flash B0-3. Today wasn't Wally West Day. While his friends had an awesome beach day, he was stuck on the first day of his sophomore year. While they were roasting hot dogs, he was stuck eating the slope the lunch lady called food. While they were playing volleyball with the gorgeous Ms. Martian, he was playing human target during dodgeball. But the day was still young, and now that he was out of school, he can still have an awesome beach day with his pals. Now he was prepared. He come with his chair, his umbrella, his swimsuit, his beach ball, everything to save this awful day. From now this day will be a blast. The wall man is here, he calls out, running his flip-flops. Let's get this party star on. He's cut off as he trips on the pole of his umbrella, falling flat on his face. The beach ball goes bouncing into the main room just past an angry Batman as he watches Wally skid towards them. Lifting his head, he sees them dressed for a mission. Ted. He finishes weakly. All the other protégés look to him with amused smiles, knowing he just make a fool of himself. Wallman, huh? A new voice asks, Aqualad stepping aside so Kid Flash can see her. She was a mixed Asian blonde with black eyes. She was dressed out in green with an arrow on her chest and a bow in hand, making connected Tadhi famous green arrow. I love the uniform. What exactly are your powers? Wally ignores her question as he steps up beside Robin and Gan. Who's this? He asks Calder, gesturing to her. Artemis, your new teammate, she says almost teasingly. Kid Flash. Never heard of you. Wally continues in the same insultingly teasing tone as Artemis. Green Arrow steps up. She's my new protege. Wally's eyes go wide. What happened to your old one? He questions, clearly worried, but can't ask further as the Zeta tubes behind him are put in use. Recognized Speedy B0-6. Well, for starters, he doesn't go by Speedy anymore. Roy states, walking out of the Zeta tube. Call me Red Arrow. The three original proteges are both relieved and tense to see him in the mountain, but it's Green Arrow who reacts the fastest. Roy. You look, Green Arrow begins, but Red Arrow cuts him off as he walks to the center of the training circle. Replaceable. He nearly growls, his gaze zeroing in on Artemis. It's not like that. Green Arrow tries. You told me you were going solo. So why waste time finding a sub? Roy rhetorically questions angrily. Can she even use that bow? Artemis steps up to defend herself. Yes, she can, she says, almost chipper sounding as she gets right in Roy's face. Recognize Green Lantern B0-7. Suddenly, Naruto appeared in his casual outfit. Sorry guys, I'm a little late. My teacher didn't want to let us go. Still, not that bad for my first school day in months, said Naruto. Putting his hands together in a sign of forgiveness, he quickly noticed a blonde he didn't know staring at a redhead he also didn't know, who both seemed ready to rip the other out. Sensing the tension in the room, Naruto spoke up. I'm interrupting something? Trying to break the uncomfortable silence that had quickly enveloped the room. Luckily for him, Green Arrow broke the silence. None at all. Like I was saying, she is my niece, Artemis. This answer caused Roy to raise an eyebrow. Your niece? He questioned with a doubtful tone. Yeah, his niece, affirmed Artemis firmly, her frown evident. This gave Robin a troll-like smile on his face. Another niece? He questioned. But she is not your replacement, Calder reassured, addressing his friend Roy. Stepping up as Roy turned to look at him, Calder continued, we have always wanted you on the team, and we have no quota on archers. Still not into that name, Naruto remarked, gesturing with his hand to Gan, who patted him gently on the back, silently agreeing with him. After all, unbeknownst to anyone, she had spent the whole week thinking of a new name for the team. From his left, Wally pipes up, cheery once more. And if we did, you know who we pick. Ugh. Not this again, groaned Naruto, still annoyed at the speedster jokes during OMC fight. Artemis steps up once more. Whatever, Baywatch, I'm here to stay. Baywatch, that a good one, replied Naruto with a smirk on his face, causing Artemis to smile too. But still not better than Twinkle Toes. This caused Artemis' smile to turn bigger, and caused Wally to frown at the pair of blondes. Roy immediately walks away from her. Right by Calder, who stops him by speaking up. You came to us for a reason. Yeah, a reason named Dr. Soiling Rocket. Roy admits, looking to Robin, who tenses immediately at the name. Then smiling, he pulls up the data on his hologlove. Nanorobotics genius and Claytronics expert at Royal University in Star City vanished 2 weeks ago. He states as screens around the whole circle come up. Abducted 2 weeks ago by the League of Shadows. Roy corrects. Robin's joy shows through on his face. Whoa. You want us to rescue her from the shadows? He asks as he, Wally, and Gan all step up. Hardcore. Wally agrees, offering a fist to Robin, which the boy wonder hits on top, then underneath, then on top again. While Roy replies tensely, I already rescued her. Walking towards the lined-up holoscreens. Only one problem. Pulling out a small gray box which brings up a larger screen in front of the ones Robin put up. The shadows had already coerced her into a weapon, glancing at the screen to make sure the data's up. Doc calls it the Fog, comprised of millions of microscopic robots, nanotech infiltrators, capable of disintegrating anything in their path: concrete, steel, flesh, bone, but its true purpose isn't mere destruction. It's theft. The infiltrators eat and store raw data from any computer system and deliver the stolen data to the shadows. Miami Beach University. August 8th. As Roy explains, the shadows are getting ready to use the technology at the university. In a blue convertible, the Cyclops sits in the back seat with the container for the Fog, opening the top of the container right in front of the robotics lab. The Fog comes at the nearby window, where a young woman looks on in shock, then runs as the Fog punches its way through the glass, coming out from the walls and floors. Everyone in the whole building evacuates. The fog comes into a computer lab, taking over all the computers and loading up all the files on them at high speeds. Near the computer towers is another mass of the fog, which when enhanced the databanks are being removed or rather eaten by the infiltrators, which looks exactly like the image Roy has on his holoscreen. Outside, the Cyclops works on a laptop, controlling the fog, even bringing them back into their storage tank where all the data is uploaded. They drive away as the building begins to collapse in on itself. Roy stands before the group, letting the horrible information fully sink in, providing them access to weapons, strategic defense, cutting-edge science and tech. He finishes. "New guy here, but who are the Shadows anyway?" said Naruto, still not familiarized with all of the Earth enemies the League had. "PFF. Rookies, am I right?" scoffed Wally. The League of Shadows is a criminal and terrorist organization of mercenaries, led by Ra's al Ghul, the demon's head, a semi-immortal assassin who has lived for centuries. The group focuses on extortion, manipulation, and power broking. A more proper name for them could be the League of Assassins because of their use of his members to carry contracts that lead them to control national conflicts and problems of a similar scale, explained Artemis, leaving everyone, except Batman and Robin, and especially Wally, jaw-dropped at her knowledge. "Who are you?" replied Wally in a strange mix of confusion and anger which only caused Artemis to smirk proudly. "Semi-immortal?" said Naruto in confusion. "How can you be semi-immortal? That just mean mortal, right?" "He is not biologically immortal," explained Batman to the young lantern. "His immortality comes from his knowledge and possession of the Lazarus Pit, a mystical pool that could heal any injuries or disease and even death itself. But Raz himself is just a normal man. A normal, incredibly trained master assassin with a centuries-long training, but at the end of the day still a man. So this Raz is basically an evil ninja zombie with his own evil ninja army," said Naruto, slightly creeped out at the idea of the undead. "After all, the last thing he ever want to deal is with zombies." "More or less," admitted Robin. "After all, for a certain point of view, Raz can be seen as a zombie. Super ultra creepy." Roy, deliberately ignoring the blonde, continued. "Like I was saying, Rocket's working on a virus to render the fog inert." "But if the Shadows know she can do that," Robin begins, quietly. Roy agrees with him instantly. "They'll target her. Right now, she's off the grid." The picture changes again. "I stashed her at the local high school's computer lab." "You left her alone in a high school?" demanded Naruto, lifting his finger in an accusatory way to the archer, who frowned at the lantern. "What were you thinking?" "She's safe for now," answered the archer. "Yeah, sure. You should have tied her up down a big neon sign that says 'Kill me please,'" said Naruto in a harsh voice to the archer, who for his part was receiving the complaint in a stoic way. "Do you have any better ideas?" replied Red Arrow. "First of all, a school is not safe, not fortified. A competent sniper could have easily shot her by now. Secondly, at least my school's so large that we need to use the whole team to cover the area, so even if we catch an assassin on the perimeter, we are going to need to leave our post, leaving an opening to more shadows to enter, and even that is not a guarantee that we reach the other if we need it. Thirdly, she need proper equipment to work on her virus, and let's face it, Happy Harbor Computer Labs is not Star Labs. And finally, even if all I said failed, the Shadows still have the choice to just destroy the school with her inside of it. Not pretty, I know. But let's face it, an assassin isn't going to care too." Roy looked at the rest of the team in search for support, but all of them, even Wally, seemed to agree with the lantern. Luckily for him, Green Arrow wanted to save his surrogate son. "Look, maybe he has a point, explained the archer to his protege. "But you said she is safe. So we have to work hard to keep it that way." "You and I?" Roy questions, sounding both angry and surprised. "Don't you want to take your new protege?" Before Green Arrow can say anything, Batman places a dark hand on his shoulder, stopping the blonde in his tracks. He glances back at the Dark Knight before turning back to Roy. "You brought this to the team. It's their mission, which means it's hers now, too," Green Arrow says calmly. Roy scoffs. "Then my job's done," he says, walking back towards the Zeta tubes. "Recognize Speedy." "That's Red Arrow, B0-6 update," Roy corrects. The Zeta tube beeps, recognizing the update, and transporting him away. Behind his turn back, Wally turns to Artemis and Naruto with a glare. Gan looks over as well, but she's more confused than confrontational. Artemis looks away from the ginger's looks. "So this is the famous Roy. He seems nice," replied Naruto sarcastically. "I can see why you guys want him on the team. Real team player, or I'm wrong." "Twinkle toes," he said, directed to Wally, which caused the ginger to glare at the lantern and Artemis to smirk. "You said it," said Artemis to her fellow blonde. We haven't been formally introduced names as Naruto, but you can call me Naru or Green Lantern. Artemis slung her arm on Naruto's shoulder while both grinned. I'm Artemis, just Artemis, and I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. Happy Harbor. August 8th. Outside Happy Harbor High, Gan and Superboy are on the roof with the bio ship camouflaged over their heads. While inside the school, Aqualad checks the window to the hallway by the computer lab. Meanwhile, the rest are guarding Dr. Rocket. Miss Martian, link us up. We do not want the shadows intercepting our comms. From outside, Miss Martian finds the other minds with ease, connecting them quickly. Everyone online? She asks. Oh. Artemis half groans, sitting down on the desk Dr. Rocket is working at to keep from losing her balance. This is weird. Don't worry, you get used to it. Trust me, said Naruto to Artemis, who just smiled. You better do. Dr. Rocket's voice cuts in as she continues to code quickly. Coding a distributive algorithm virus on a kiddie computer with less RAM than a wristwatch is hard enough. She stops typing and starts moving her body as if she were speaking aloud. Now I have to hear teen think in my skull? She grips her head with annoyance and perceived pain from a headache she's bound to get. Wally sits on the window ledge eating a granola bar. Robin is looking out of the partially open blind of the same window row but hidden by the pillar. Lady, do you always complain when someone tries to help you? Dude, she is probably terrified. Be easy on her, said Naruto to Wally. Ya woman, you need to learn how to treat girl nicely or you never get a girlfriend. Hey, said at snapped Kid Flash. I do not need attitude from the newbie who drove Red Arrow off the team. Yeah. Because Red Arrow was so dying to work with us, mocked Naruto. That was before or after he told us to take a hike. Artemis stands instantly and points directly at him. Yeah. If your friend doesn't want to be on the team, is so not on me. Behind her, Rocket stops typing to give in to her annoyance. Fate of the world at stake. She tries to remind, already annoyed at the trio arguing. She started it. Kid Flash defends childishly. How about I just help Superba and Miss Martian patrol the perimeter? She offers, wanting to get a little air to breathe. Good idea. Aqualad agrees, his tone formal as ever, but there's a noted edge of stress to his simple words. You might cut her some slack. It was her arrow that saved your butt against Amazo. Robin points out, smirking at the last tidbit of knowledge. Kid Flash's eyes go wide. What? No. He denies instantly. That was Speedy's, Red Arrow's arrow. Right. He tries, giving the boy wonder a small smile as if that would change his answer. Not so much. Robin admits, teasing clear in his tone. Kid Flash manages to huff in his head. Well, still not giving her the satisfaction. He gripes. Walking out of the building, Artemis is quick to remind him that's ineffective. You know, I can still hear you. Twinkle toes. Wally grips his head and groans aloud. You know she has a point, you know, right, said Naruto to Calder, who looked at him. Is not fair on her that KF keep comparing her to Red Arrow. I know, admitted Aqualad. After all, doesn't matter how much it saddened him seeing his closest friend on land not joining the team. Roy was his own person and he make it clear he doesn't want to join. On the other hand, Artemis does want to join the team, but is not much I can do. This team, being a leader, all of this, is new for all of us. I guess I just thought I have another friend, it would be easier. Naruto sighed in response. He can't blame Calder, Roy was his friend even if he was a jerk. I can see your point. And I see you don't really like Red Arrow or Kid Flash. They can be. Calder paused for a second before answering, complex, but their heart is in the right place. Naruto looked at him for a second and just say what he has on his chest. For a while, after all, there was a reason he wanted to talk with Calder HM without the rest of the Peanuts gallery listening to everything he said. I don't dislike them, Naruto said truthfully. KF is annoying, but even I can see he is a good person. Red Arrow on the hand, look, I know he is your friend and all. And I don't really know him. Naruto paused for a few seconds, probably trying to describe what he was trying to say in the less hurtfully way possible. But well, it looks like he has a bit of an ego problem and lost sight of the objective. What do you mean by that? Asked Aqualad, squinting his eyes at his fellow blonde. Look, the other GLs told me everything, the Hall of Justice, the Watchtower, Cadmus, everything, Naruto said, and punctuating the last part. And in my opinion, Speedy seemed more interested in getting respect of the Justice League and Green Arrow and prove his worth than well help people, Naruto explained before turning to Dr. Rocket, who was busy coding the virus. Imagine if something happened to her because of him. Red Arrow had all day to call us, and we could help her get her to any real safe place. Hell, we could brought her to the cave is a way better spot than this one, Naruto said before turning his voice deeper. If she dies, is on us. If somebody has tell her loved ones that she died because someone wanted to prove he is better than his mentor is us. Not him. 3. And I already did that once, and trust me when I say this, you don't ever want to do that. Aqualad nodded, understanding his teammate perspective before putting his hand on his shoulder in a show of camaraderie. You want to talk about it? Not really, is not like is a secret or anything, is just uncomfortable. If you ever need an ear, my door is always open, my friend. Thanks, Calder. Did the two of you finish your dumb bromance over there? Complained the doctor. After hearing that, Aqualad approached the rocket and said the virus won't be of much use if we cannot find the weapon. Aqualad surmises, stepping up to stand behind the doctor. Can you track it? My utility fog is not a weapon. She quickly defends, turning towards Aqualad. It's science, brilliant science, and of course I can track it, but I'd have to go online. She turns back to the computer but doesn't continue coding. Might as well rent a billboard with this address and assassinate me written in neon. Placing her head on the fingertips of her left hand. Look, I know you've been through a lot. Maybe more than what anyone should ever go, replied Naruto, who was sure that a group like the Shadows wasn't going to be nice with their prisoners. And it must be awful seeing you work be twisted into something that could hurt others, but if we don't stop it quickly, people's lives will be at stake. I know you are scared, but I promise you I will not let any shadow touch a hair of your head. Do you promise it? Answered the doctor in a softer tone of voice that she used in a long while. It was like a huge weight was taken from her back. Doctor, you have my word, I will not let anything happen to you. And I always keep my promises, said Naruto, putting his hand on her shoulder in an attempt to make her feel more secure. Both blondes glanced each other for a second until the doctor sighed and smiled to the lantern. She then pushed the enter key to begin tracking the fog. Tracking the fog now. She tells him, though it's obvious by the way the targeting system is moving across the digital form of the globe on her screen. Coming to a stop on a fully zoomed-in image of a plane sitting on a runway. Philadelphia. August 8th. Inside the plane, the Cyclops man holds a drink as the plane slowly moves across the runway. Until the desk beeps. A hollow screen appears, which is now automatically tracking the doctor's signal. An old man's image rises on the left-hand side of the globe. Rocket has surfaced to track us, but that links it to a street. His screen zooms right in on Happy Harbor High. Sending her location now. The old man continues to sit in a lotus, watching the events unfold on the screen. Who we have near Happy Harbor, Rhode Island? He questions. Superbo walks the perimeter, coming to a guarded stop as he hears bushes rustling. Following the sound, he leaps to the roof of the school and strides across it with precision, grace, and ease. Landing behind a tense Gan and Artemis. The archer even had her bow strung. Though, seeing both are more relaxed than he is, brushes it off and walks away from the girls. That boy. Superbo turns back, but upon seeing her look at him his eyes widen, realizing she meant him. He can hear you. We can all hear you. Miss Martian points out, in a harsh tone that is not in character for her. Artemis just replied lustfully. Oh, I know. Miss Martian's eyes widen in a mix of shock and jealousy. Miss Martian, Aqualad's voice cuts in, Miss Martian calming, while Artemis forces her gaze out of the corner of her eye to the sidewalk leading to where she and Miss Martian are. Dr. Rocket has located the fog. Reconfigure the bioship so that Robin and Superboy can pursue. Miss Martian raises her right hand and the bioship lands in the small field before the fence. Ready. Superboy and Robin run out to it quickly, the open hatch closing right on their heels. The ship takes off quickly and smoothly. Whichever one of the boys are flying has clearly been working at it. Turning to walk back, Miss Martian gives Artemis a small glare that's gone before the archer could even blink. Both miss the raven-haired woman behind the bushes wearing a jade-green tunic with black underlayers and a mask with a Cheshire grin splayed for all to see. Miss Martian keeps her back to Artemis, her arms crossed before she finally gives in and talks to the girl. You embarrassed Superba. Artemis smiles at the alien. Almost looking innocent. Almost. Didn't hear him say that. Miss Martian turns towards the archer. Must you challenge everyone? Behind her, two masked figures take advantage of the teens arguing to silently enter the school. Where I come from, that's how you survive, declared Artemis, though Miss Martian's frown lessened slightly. Kid Flash is leaning against the wall outside the classroom, rubbing his elbows in an attempt to heat himself up. Why is so cold in here? Complained Kid Flash when he suddenly notices a small shadow lurking in the corner catch his attention. Stealthily he tries to follow the shadow to the end of the hall only to end up on the school pool. Trying to gain momentum he charges against the shadow only to fall on the floor thanks to a multitude of small spheres receiving him. The mysterious figure took advantage of the window she had against the speedster to kick him directly to the pool. "Why you always play with you pray?" said another figure hidden that suddenly appeared from the shadows. The figure had long black hair, pale skin with a slender physique. It was wearing a dark green kimono with a black Kevlar suit on the inside and black boots, but his most defining feature was his mask, which was white with curved eye holes and a red wavy design in place of the mouth, with 2 locks of his hair framing his face. It made the figure look like a ghost than a person. Surprisingly, this was more accurate than everyone suspected. On the other hand, his companion was a woman with wild untamed black hair with a dark green kimono with knee-high boots, and just like his companion she wore a mask but a different her case. Hers was rugged and resembling some kind of cat with red stripes to the sides and a wide grin. "Is more fun that way. You know a girl need to take care of her needs," was the women only response. Her companion just groaned at her teammate attitude. "That will backfire someday, you need to take better care of yourself," Cheshire Sam replied in a respectful way. "Easy tough guy. You almost sounded human," mocked Cheshire to her companion, who just glared at her silently. "Relax Wraith, I'm just joking. Let's go, we have a nerd to kill." And with that the pair of assassins take off ready to continue their hunt. In the computer lab, Aqualad stands beside Dr. Rocket as she continues to type while Green Lantern is sitting on top of a desk. "It's freezing out here. Did any of you guys turn on the AC?" asked the doctor to the teens, who looked at each other only shrug. However, they are interrupted when the doors start to slightly creak, but it is only open a very small amount before an icicle comes whizzing towards the back of Rocket's head, only to get impaled in a green force field created by the lantern. "Good job, GL," said Calder to his teammate. The doctor goes to stand, but Aqualad sees movement. "Doctor, get down," he calls, knocking her to ground only to get impaled by 2 shuriken. "That had to hurt," said Cheshire, charging herself against the Atlantean with her 2 sai. "Aqualad," said Naruto, worried about his teammate. "Don't worry, my friend. Atlantean's skin is quite dense," said Aqualad, calming his teammate. "But yours is not," and suddenly a rain of needles attacked Naruto. Luckily for him, Naruto instinctively created a force field in which the needles ended impaled. Naruto could see that the culprit was the ghost-like stranger that was with Cheshire. "We don't want any trouble." Cheshire scoffed at that. "I don't want any trouble," the stranger corrected himself. "Surrender, Rocket, and I let you all live. If you dare to fight, I promise you will not see the next morning." Aqualad pulls the last shuriken out of his arm, his right tattoo glowing brightly. "Not a chance," he states, as he pulls out his water bearers to form dual swords. "Just so Cheshire can block it with her sai." "Pity," was the stranger's response. "I don't like to kill people outside of the target." Suddenly the stranger squatted himself, and with his left palm on the floor he created a massive line of ice spike directed to both GL and Aqualad. "Guys, we need backup in the computer lab," Naruto calls out from their mental link. Miss Martian and Artemis storm through the double doors, Artemis knocking an arrow as she runs towards the computer lab. "We're on our way," the archer assures. Miss Martian stops short, her eyes going wide. Before flying back to the last intersecting hallway, she and Artemis passed. Artemis quickly entered the room just to encounter both Aqualad clashing his water bearers in sword form against the sai of what looked like a ninja wearing a cat mask. Meanwhile, Green Lantern was evading what looked like scythes made by a man whose arms were encased with ice. "What is wrong, tough guy? Poison's slowing you down," mocked Cheshire. "Jellyfish toxin. I'm largely immune," Cheshire responded by headbutting Aqualad, making him lose balance and fall to the floor. "Largely," said Cheshire, only for her to quickly turn herself and block an arrow launched by Artemis. "Don't move," threatened the archer, tensing her bow. "Didn't your parents told you not to stick your nose on other people's business, baby girl?" And just like that, the Cheshire was on the hunt again. Miss Martian's eyes glow red as she raises Kid Flash's unconscious body out of the pool. On the other side of the room, Naruto was busy trying to defend himself with a bubble shield of the ice assassin weapons who keep trying to break it with some kind of ice pike on his arms. Sadly, he was at disadvantage. The short space of the lab meant he couldn't use bigger construction unless he wanted to take the roof with him, and projectiles were out of the question out of hurting the doctor or his teammates thanks to a ricochet which only left hand-to-hand weapons in which he was inferior. Unless. Thank God for his creativity. It's lunchtime. After saying that, Naruto concentrated his willpower and decided to create a construct of green Bengal tiger to use as a weapon. The ferocious beast went flying to the ring to his opponent, and started trying to maul the assassin's right arm. While the assassin was trying to fight the tiger with an ice shield on his right arm, he used his left hand on the floor to create an he throw directly to the doctor head. Luckily for the doctor, Naruto created a bubble construction around her to protect her. Sadly for him, it made him lose concentration of his tiger construct, causing it to dissipate. The ice assassin took advantage of this momentary distraction to launch himself at Naruto with incredible speed, aiming a powerful kick at his chest. Naruto, caught off guard, managed to raise a green shield just in time to block the attack, but the force behind it sent him skidding back across the room. The assassin tried to charge against the shielded rocket only for him to be suddenly tackled against the wall by a just-arrived Kid Flash who was accompanied by a flying Miss Martian. Cheshire, at seeing the arrival of the Martian and the speedster, made a quick signal with her neck to her comrade who just nodded. "I'm sorry, but this gig just got too interesting. Come on, Snow Wraith, we have to go now." After saying that, both assassins reached for their sleeves and took a smoke bomb on the room, filling the room with smoke. Kid Flash jumps through the smoke, hitting nothing and stumbling right into Artemis' arms, both of them bumping foreheads. Shocked to find them so close together, and practically sharing breaths, he stumbles back with his eyes wide. Then looks to the now empty space. "Gone," he grunts. "They are getting away. You're letting them get away," Rocket yells at Aqualad. "This was all your fault. You were on the perimeter. How'd that shadows get in?" Kid demands of Artemis, who boldly stands before him. Her eyes merely narrow at him, but enough to make anyone's skin crawl. "That's not really fair," Miss Martian says calmly, walking up to them. "I was outside too." "Outside being distracted by her," he retaliates. "Besides, I can't be mad at you." His tone gone flirtatious and almost sweet as he changes who he's defending. "You gave me mouth to mouth." Miss Martian's eyes go wide, realizing something he hasn't yet. "We heard that," Artemis snaps angrily, while even Aqualad seems annoyed. "Also, you were outside too," Kid Flash said Naruto after standing up from the floor. "How did they get past you anyway?" criticized Naruto. "I thought I saw something heading to the pool, but it turned out it was a trap set by the shadows. I'm sure I was going to be kid drowned if it wasn't by Miss M over here," replied Kid Flash to a surprised Lantern. "Okay, I'm sorry, that was uncalled for," Naruto said with genuine remorse. While he didn't like Wally that much, he wouldn't criticize someone who was almost killed. "I didn't know that. Are you okay anyway?" This question surprised Wally, who was sure the blonde hated him. "Don't worry, is nothing that a good night's sleep won't fix," said Kid Flash after pausing for a few seconds, with both teens trying to avoid glancing each other. "Still, Artemis, you did great," said Gan, trying to change the subject. "I know I didn't do half as well in my first battle," she offers, even placing her hand on Artemis' shoulder in an attempt to increase her comfort by offering it physically. "And I know you can't have been Green Arrow's sidekick for very long." Before she can respond, Aqualad cuts in. "Focus, everyone." Though out of the two, Miss Martian seems the most annoyed with the interruption. "The shadows will be back." The radio beeps. "Robin to Aqualad," said the boy wonder through the radio, gaining the Atlantean's attention immediately. "We've located the shadow's next target, Star Labs. However, we were too late, the fog already decimated it. We need to know what's our next move," he asks Aqualad. Aqualad looks to the unhurt Dr. Rocket. "Rescan for that fog. Find it." Then he glances back at the doctor once more. "We're moving the doctor." "I have an idea," said Green Lantern to his teammates who listened. After discreetly moving the doctor, they found her relatively safe in a small house in the harbor. While Artemis walks around behind the doctor, Kid Flash sits on top of the computer tower. When the blonde comes to a stop and glances at him, he glares right back. "Stop it, both of you!" Aqualad's telepathic voice cuts. Even he was starting to get annoyed at his antics, and wanted to stop them before they start again. "What?" both ask at the same time. From within the bushes outside their location, Aqualad remains calm. "I can hear you glaring," he informs them, then heads off towards the slight trailing. "Miss Martian, stay in camouflage mode and make a wide perimeter sweep," he instructs, but aloud. "Lantern, keep your post, alert us if you see something." Aqualad was turning his head looking for anything suspicious when suddenly he started to feel more cold, like the temperature was lowered 20 degrees. Aqualad suddenly felt like something pulling him up, just like when a fish was caught on fishing rod. And suddenly Aqualad was dragged to the foliage of a tree, only to be thrown directly to a van by the assassin Snow Wraith of the League of Shadows with enough to leave a dent on it. Aqualad, still dizzy for the attack, didn't see that behind him a man with a hook for hands slamming him to the ground, knocking him out. Cheshire come over and check the body of the Atlantean, and after seeing him out of commission, Cheshire command her teammates their heavy hitters could return any second, and I'm not keen on evening their odds. She explains we need to end Rocket now. With that, the teams of shadows vanished into the night. In the single-room building, Kid Flash is watching Rocket as she types, still hanging out on top of the computer tower. The doors burst open and from the door frame, and Snow Wraith jump into the room, but not before freezing all the floor around the room in an attempt to restrict Kid Flash mobility. Luckily, Kid is experienced enough of Ice Villain's tactics to know what to do. Using his super speed, he runs to the walls in an attempt to create momentum, with Snow Wraith using his powers to try to reach the speedster and freeze him. However, once Kid gained a good position, he glanced directly to Snow Wraith and jumped directly to the assassins and kick him of the rib with a round kick with his left leg, throwing him against the wall and temporarily dizzying him. Artemis, seeing an opportunity, goes to shoot the assassin when the glass window in the ceiling behind her shatters and Hook drops to the ground. She changes her aim and shoots at the white-haired man, who dodges the shot, and the next three by diving between the pews. Artemis knocks another arrow, while Rocket stops typing and turns to her. "Don't stop working," she instructs the doctor, before releasing the arrow. Rocket says nothing and turns back to the computer. From the windows, Cheshire lines up an arrow and a crossbow. She releases it, but a desk is telekinetically put in the way of the shot. "Martians here. It's now or never," she commands Hook and Snow Wraith, ditching the crossbow. Cheshire, seeing an opportunity, goes directly to Rocket with her teammates Wraith and Hook, creating opening by fighting Kid Flash and Artemis respectively. Cheshire didn't miss a chance and tackled Rocket with all her strength and shoved her into the ground, twirling her sai and preparing to stab her in the back and end all of this when the doctor's skin suddenly turns green and her head turns to look right at Cheshire. "We've been duped," she calls out, both angrily and to alert both men working with her. At the Sandbar Internet Cafe is the real Dr. Rocket working on a computer as Green Lantern stands guard. "I've almost got it," she tells him. The next target's a Wayne Tech facility, Robin says, shocked as the camouflaged bioship comes to a slow just outside the building. In theory, now he has Superboy's attention, the clone can hear the emotions raging through Robin's voice. Its system software could be used to hack he cuts himself off. "The what?" Superboy asks expectantly. "Doesn't matter," Robin tries to brush off. What matters is Wayne Tech operates a 24-hour workforce. We'll never evacuate the building in time. In the parking structure across the street, a dark gray van pulls into a parking space. Inside is a Cyclops and the fog, which he quickly begins activating. "I'm going after Rocket. You two keep them busy," declared Snow Wraith to his teammates, who just nodded in response. "If you think I just gonna let you go, you don't know who are you dealing with," Sub-Zero threatened Kid Flash. "Luckily for me, I still have a few trick up on my sleeve," and with that from the assassin turned his hand, pointing to the teen, who was preparing himself to avoid another attack of ice. However, instead of ice, Wraith unleashed a wave of mist into the room. While not as deadly as his ice or his icicles, the mist gave him what he needed the most, a small window to attack. Taking advantage of the speedster's temporary disadvantage, the assassin thrown an ice beam that let him with all his torso frozen against the wall. He knew he would escape eventually, but it gave him enough time to run away. He had a target to kill. Wraith was running like he didn't do in a long. This was not his night. First of all, his right arm was pretty much useless right now thanks to the Green Lantern Tiger construct, and he and his team lost valuable time fighting against a bait. It was easy to find the real finding spot thanks to the infrared on his mask. Aqualad led him directly to it, surely so he can protect more the doctor. They were good kids, he can see that, but he owes the shadows and the Algols too much to fail, and if they keep standing in his way. Well, he was a shadow for a reason. Just because he doesn't want to kill everyone doesn't mean he couldn't. They were both here, Green Lantern and Aqualad, standing guarding the doctor. The assassin cursed his luck, but luckily he has a plan to situations like this. Thanks to one of his few friends in the world. Arigato Jade-san, and with Wraith throws 6 darts from the ceiling directly to the Atlantean back, throwing him out of commission. He would have shot the lantern too, but he suspected he would have blocked with a force field anyway, and Aqualad suffered a lot of punishment this night, so he wasn't in top condition, he was the weaker target. Naruto glared at his opponent. Luckily for him, this time the terrain was much more apt for his abilities than before. "Document, how is the virus going?" he asked before glancing to Rocket. "Already uploaded it," she replied with a smile. And after saying that, Naruto just smirked. Robin and Superboy were flying in the camouflaged bioship. Robin looked at his hologlove and sees that the virus is downloading. "Is ready," he told Superboy. However, Superboy noticed a van parked outside of Wayne Tech with a strange container, and the Cyclops right next to it. After quickly deducing what it is, he prepares himself and says don't need it, and jumps off the bio ship ignoring his friend cries for him. Before he can reach him, the man uses the gray control panel hanging from his shoulder to release a red laser beam at Superboy, strong enough to knock him back into the parking surface on his back. Unmoving. The Cyclops noticed his chance and unleashed the fog is now or never, and just like the plagues with the Pharaoh, the fog was going to attack his objective. Or at least that what the plan. The fog lived for a few seconds before dissolving into red dust. What said the Cyclops, better known as Professor Ojo, before turning and seeing Superboy. At angry just blasted Superboy. Oh crap, Askets was his last words before Superboy punched him in the face, and all he could see was black. So you guys finished the virus? How? Questioned Wraith without a tone of malice in his voice, more like a genuine curiosity. Naruto just lifted his hand, illuminating his ring. This allowed me to create anything I can imagine. While I couldn't create the virus, I did create a way better network following her instruction doc for her to work. After that we just needed time. Then my work here is done. Snow Wraith preparing to leave. I don't kill outside of the contract, and frankly I don't want to fight a lantern. Is not worth the risk. You can say a lot about him, but things like glory and reputation doesn't matter to Snow Wraith. He was a professional. He just did his job and doesn't let things like feelings get in the way. You think I just gonna let you go? Naruto said incredulously at the audacity. After everything you did? Of course not, he said before showing Naruto a violet vial, unless you want this. Your friend been punched, kicked and poisoned all night long, and these darts I just shot at him are much stronger than the one Cheshire gave him earlier. I'm not a doctor, but I gave him 10 minutes before the effects are irreversible and 20 before he dies. Maybe a few more considering his physiology, but I wouldn't out my faith on it, explained the assassin. So what is going to be your friend, life or a pointless fight? Your choice. This put Naruto in a difficult position. If he let Wraith was sure he would kill more people, but if he doesn't do anything, Calder dies. Naruto thought it for a few seconds and sighed. He was so going to regret this later. You can go, I won't move a muscle. You have my word. After saying that, the assassin walked to Naruto and gave him the vial. You truly are a kind soul, said Snow Wraith. In another life we could have been good friends. Just go before I change my mind, and just like that the assassin jumped from the window and vanished into the night. Naruto reached down and carefully put the whole vial on Aqualad's mouth, making sure to not miss any drop, the hope of seeing movement. Come on, Cal. Come on. Are you going to be okay? Asked Rocket. She did take a liking to the lantern in this short time. Not sure, Naruto answers honestly. Hell, maybe they kicked me off the team for this. Oh, how I hate that name, Naruto said to the doctor. But a person I really respect once told me those who break the rules are scum, but those who abandon their friends are worse than scum. I can always catch him later, but Calder only have one life. This is more important. That assassin was right. You truly are a kind soul, said Rocket softly. Please don't say anything. I like my tough guy reputation, Naruto joked, trying to lighten the mood. Calder started to open his eyes. He felt weak, like he just lifted a whale on his back. His breathing felt heavier and his movements felt clumsy as he slowly sat up, rubbing his head. What happened? He mumbled, trying to piece together the events in his mind. The assassin got away. I'm sorry, it was my mistake, apologized the lantern. However, Superboy and Robin destroyed the machine, so yay, I guess. After saying that, both Naruto and Rocket lifted Calder and guided him to the door. It was obvious the Atlantean was still incredibly weakened. Once they reached outside of the cafe, they meet with the rest of the team. Did you guys catch the assassin? Questioned Miss Martian, only for Naruto to shake his head. After he poisoned Calder we fought, but he got away in the end. I'm sorry guys, I understand it, that ice guy, Naruto explains himself. However, Kid Flash and his big mouth are ready to attack in an instant. Oh, from you? He taunts. Oh, big surprise. Notice we got ours. Well, most of us archery girl lost. Hello Kitty, evil sister. Calder is quick to notice that Wally was carrying Cheshire mask on his arms. Did any of you saw her face? Interrogated Calder. It was dark. Okay, defended herself Artemis. It was dark. Artemis defends, then looks towards the bay. It is fine. Aqualad grunted. Robin and Superboy neutralized the fog, and Dr. Rocket is safe, thanks in no small part to you. Yeah, Artemis, we couldn't have done it without you. Is going to be great to have you on the Titans, said Shirley Gan. The Titans? Asked Artemis. Yeah, I'd been thinking names after what GL said the other day. Isn't the Titans a cool name? Explained the alien to her flabbergasted teammates. Well, if you guys don't like it, I also have this name. What do you guys think of the Super Free? No, the name is perfect. Titans, it sound cool and badass, perfect for a hero team. Yeah, the green lamppost over here is right. The Titans way cooler than the team or the Justice League, added Wally from his own part. In this case, let me be the first to tell you welcome to the Titans, said Aqualad, quietly extended his hand to the archer. She gives a small smile in return, and after a slight hesitation, she shake it back. Yeah, we couldn't have done it without you, Artemis, said Naruto. I always wanted a sister. Miss Martian says sincerely. Here on Earth, I mean. I have 12 back on Mars, but trust me, it's not the same. She clarifies, even Kid Flash is willing to get close to the newbie who kicked Red Arrow off the team. I wouldn't know, Artemis decides to say, though a small chuckle does come through. But thanks. Miss Martian elbows Kid Flash in the chest to make him respond, yeah. Welcome. Artemis offers her hand. He only hesitates slightly before taking it. She thinks that maybe she finally found a place to truly belong, and that make her smile in a way she hasn't done in a really long time. Mount Justice. August 8th. Luckily for Naruto, after everything that happened, no one cared that much. That Snow Wraith got away, the machine was destroyed, and the doctor protected, so everyone just took it as a win. Batman, for instance, was surprisingly pleased on the capture of a Shadow and Hook and the data of 2 unknown members like Cheshire and Snow Wraith. After gathering his things, he wanted to take a Zeta beam right to his house and just sleep on his bed. He was tired. The assassin did get a few good punches, and right now he is ironically putting an ice pack on his ribs. Thank OA by Lantern Force Fields, or he would more than a few broken ribs to worry about. Before Naruto leave the cave, he sees Aqualad approaching him, still limping. Obviously looks like even super-powered fish people aren't invincible. Shouldn't you be on bed rest or something, says Naruto, though I can't blame if you don't want to see doctor in a while, he joked. Red Tornado already checked my vitals. He said I should be fine with just a couple of days of a good bed rest, explained Calder. That's great. Is good you're getting better, we were really worried for a second. And speaking of bed rest, I kinda have to go now, so see you later. Actually, I wanted to apologize to you about the mission. My incompetence was a hindrance on the mission, and I put you in a dangerous position. Calder, you were poisoned. That is not your fault. Also, I'm a Green Lantern, I can fight a few puzzers on my own. If anything, I should apologize to you. I left Snow Wraith get away, Naruto said, speaking from his heart to the Atlantean, who just squinted his eyes like he was annoyed at the answer. You mean after he forced to make you a deal for my life, said Aqualad directly to the Lantern, who was shocked. I don't know what you're talking about, was Naruto's quick response to an unsurprised Calder. He didn't need to read body language to know that is a lie. You're a terrible liar, said Aqualad in a flat voice. Okay, did the doctor told you? I'll asked her to no say anything, said Naruto, midly disappointed. Actually, I was semi-conscious after I was poisoned, not conscious enough to move but enough to see what was happening around me, explained Calder. So you heard everything I said? Everything. Great, there goes my tough guy image, Naruto said, covering his face with his hands in shame. I owe you my life. And for that I'm forever thankful, said Calder in a calm tone of voice. LS, not that big of a deal, I'm sure anyone here would have done the same, Naruto said with embarrassment. Perhaps. But you did it, Naruto. And for that I'm grateful, replied Aqualad sincerely. If you ever find yourself in need, I'll be there for you. Thanks, Calder, that means a lot coming from you. After hearing that, Calder just smiled teasingly. The assassin was right, you are a kind soul, for the pillow construct of Naruto's ring flew so fast to Calder's face that even the Flash couldn't see it. Mount Justice 2010. August 19th. It's been 2 weeks since he joined the newly named Titans, and while being on the team wasn't easy, he likes to think that he is starting to get a hang of this thing. Fail, Green Lantern. Even though the fact that he's currently on the ground, stuck in an arm lock by a girl with all the team watching, seemed to demonstrate the contrary. No, Moss. Please, I give up, said Naruto to a smirking Artemis, who released Naruto's left arm from her grip. Don't feel bad, you lasted longer than before, said Artemis in one of the smuggest tones Naruto had ever heard. You lasted longer than before, repeated Naruto, imitating Artemis and sticking his tongue out in mockery, which only made Artemis smile even bigger. After saying that, Artemis rose from the ground and extended her right arm to Naruto to help him up, with his pride shattered just like every time he practiced hand-to-hand. Naruto took her hand. It's not that Naruto was a bad fighter, hell, Black Canary herself admitted that Naruto was a better fighter than Gan, Superboy, or Wally. It's just that for the purpose of the exercise, he can't use his ring, and because of his powerless self, he has to fight the super ultra-trained ninja duo of the Titans instead of any other member of the team, even with Naruto's own hand-to-hand training with Katma Tue and Kilowog, and his past hobby of martial arts can't compete with their training. 1. Like it all. Their skill are obviously the result of years of sweaty and bloody training instead of just a few months in the gym, and to be fair, while Lantern training does include CQB is more focused on the use of a weapon both ranged and melee, and things like how to fly in space plus police work, procedure, crisis solving, etc. Well, at least Artemis seemed to think he's lasting longer than before, so that's a win, right? Is it a win? Luckily for Naruto, remaining pride his savior come in the form of a red android descending to the ground from a hole in the ceiling with a tornado on his feet, stealing everyone's attention for more than a few seconds. After the android finished descending, Wally decided to speed up in front of him. "Do you have a mission for us?" he asked to the robot. "Mission assignments are the Batman's responsibility," replied Tornado after turning his head to see at the speedster. "Yeah, well, the Batman is with the Robin, doing the dynamic duel thing in Gotham," said Wally, imitating the robot voice. "But you're heading somewhere, right?" At this point, all of the team members were slowly moving in. "Hot babe, or you are in a mission secreta?" "If we can be of help," Calder corrected his friend, in his typical formal and respectful way. For his own part, Tornado decided to turn around, giving his back to the teens, and activate an holopad, displaying the image of an old white man with white hair in a tuxedo, and using a black cane with a golden handle. "This is Ken Nelson, a friend. He is 106 years old. Guy doesn't look a day over 90, commented amused Wally to Artemis. And he has been missing for 23 days. During his youth, Ken Nelson was a founding member of the Justice Society, the precursor of your mentor's Justice League, with the alias of Dr. Fate. Now the hologram is changed, showing Nelson's face with a golden helmet and his clothes turn royal blue with a gold belt, breastplate, gauntlets, boots, and cape. Of course. Nelson was Earth's Sorcerer Supreme. He was Dr. Fate, Calder said in an impressed tone. After all, the exploits of the famous JSA are legendary, even among the depths of Atlantis. 2. Pfft, Wally snorted. More like Dr. Fake. Guy knows a little advanced science and Dumbledore's it up to scare the bad guys and impress the babes. He whispers to Artemis. Quick question, Naruto said, raising his hand, gaining everyone's attention. If this doctor went missing for so long, why didn't anybody ask for him? Ken may just be on one of his walkabouts, replied Tornado. Walkabouts? Questioned Naruto, lifting his eyebrow in doubt, inviting Tornado to explain. After his retirement from active duty, Ken dedicated his life to both acting as a pillar and mentor for the heroic magical community of the world and to search for new talents across the globe. That's how he became the mentor of the Justice League's own Zatara. Still, it's not unheard of him to go silent for a period of time. For example, he once spent a whole month training and guiding a young prodigy of the dark arts in Liverpool, UK, explained the android. Naruto nodded at the situation. Still, Kent is also the caretaker of the Helmet of Fate, the source of the Doctor's mystic might, and it's unwise to leave such power unguarded. You must imagine how dangerous it is to leave such an object unguarded, explained the android. For his part, Naruto understood and just could glance at the ring currently resting on his right hand. The idea of leaving his ring in the hands of someone unworthy is terrifying. He, of all people, knows that the universe doesn't need another Korgar or, God forbid, another Atrocitus. Atrocitus. Just remembering that name made Naruto's entire body shiver. After everything he put him and countless others through, the people he massacred, the worlds he invaded. It's an immense relief to Naruto that he is currently rotting in a maximum security science cell on Quard. Still, priorities. So we need to check on this Kent guy. Sweet. Count me in. I always wanted to meet a real-life wizard, replied Naruto excitedly, pumping himself up for the mission and trying to ignore the bad memories he had of Atrocitus. He must be like the great sorcerer priests and priestesses of Mars. I would be honored to help find him, Gan added. At seeing this, Wally smiled to himself, and lifted his hands to the air. What are the odd me too? I'm like so honored I can barely stand it. Said in what was the fakest tone Naruto ever heard. Who could be Dumina? Really, Wally? That's great. I never knew you were into magic, replied excitedly Gan while smiling to Wally. This caused Naruto to sigh and look at Artemis, who saw him and slowly shake her head only to turn and glance Gan with a mix of disapproval and pity. Poor Martian and her 7 naive hearts. Yeah, magic rock, said Wally using the rock and roll gesture. Really poor. Ignoring the teen, the android approached Aqualad. Take this, it is the key to the Tower of Fate. Tornado says, offering up an old brass, takes it from his waiting hand. Meanwhile, the Titans were flying to the Tower of Fate. Artemis whispered to Naruto. Can you believe that clown? Lying to impress him. Gone in the short time they both have been on the Titans, they hanged out a lot. The fact both were the new kids who didn't really have any dynamic with the rest helped a lot. If Naruto is 100% honest, Artemis is probably the person he liked the most on the team. Don't tell me you are jealous, mocked Naruto, causing Artemis to frown, annoyed at the comment. Is just a white lie. Nobody is going to get hurt by that, said Naruto. While he wasn't a big fan of the speedster, in reality he and Wally just keep their distance at each other to save trouble. He doesn't see the trouble in him pretending to believe in magic. No one is going to get hurt except maybe Wally himself. It just wasn't his business. 3. Don't even joke about that, said Artemis with disgust. She and Wally. The mere thought of her tongue touching Wally's own chili-filled one made her barf. I mean, he is not the first guy to lie to impress a girl, and for sure he is not going to be the last. And to be fair, the lie is pretty dumb, proclaimed Naruto. What do you mean? Asked Artemis. I mean, I believe in magic is not something that could hurt Gan in any way. Not I meant, what do you mean that he is not the first one? Haven't you ever lied to impress people? Questioned Naruto. To make them like you. That hurt Artemis much more than what Naruto thought, considering she lied about everything since she joined the team. Still, the archer know how to fake it. Maybe a few times. But nothing serious, responded Artemis a little too fast. Relax, I'm not judging. A lot of people do that. My friend Ronnie once told to a girl he was into molecular gastronomy, told Naruto. So? Ronnie believed molecular gastronomy meant things like baby carrots and kid meals. Ouch. That got to hurt, said Artemis, imagining the embarrassment Naruto friend went through. Yeah, Ronnie is a nice guy, but brains isn't his forte. He made a total fool of himself. Still, it was fun for me at least. Ronnie not so much, said Naruto, causing the archer to smile wickedly. She got an idea. Hey GL, want to see something fun? Artemis asked. Yeah, sure, Naruto said. Watch this. So, Wally, Artemis began, with mockery on her voice. When did you realize your honest affinity for sorcery? Naruto caught on and smiled. He is all in for that. This would be good. The speedster froze. He didn't want to do this, but he was already too deep. Well, I don't like to brag. But before I became Kid Flash, I seriously considered become a wizard myself. A wizard, really? That is awesome. But what stopped you? I mean, magic powers must be great, Naruto said, adding his 2 cents. For example, I would love to do things like create clones or transform into other people. I'm sure Wally must want to finish his training, said an innocent Gan. Hey, I got an idea. What if we ask Dr. Fate to give you some pointers or some extra lessons, then you can become a wizard right now. At this point, even the usual stoic Aqualad started to look at Gan with pity. And we have the perfect chance because we just arrived at tornado coordinates. This made Wally sweat a little. He didn't want to deal with Gan learning that he didn't believe in magic. But on the other hand, he was already too deep, and if he denied, he would look like a fool in front of everyone. So in this situation, Wally did what he do best. Run and never look back. Yes, babe. I can't wait. After all, what mess can a little white lie do? In an abandoned theater, we can see an orange cat with black stripes and red eyes walking directly to a boy sitting in the front row. The boy had dark hair with 2 horns on the side and a thin complexion. This, matched with his white ash skin, gave him a surprisingly sinister look. His name is Clarion the Witch Boy, one of the most powerful beings on the planet, and a Lord of Chaos, and the master of the cat Tickle. He was also drinking a smoothie with a Batman logo on it, with a plate of fries with a green sauce next to it. Meow, said the cat to the boy, who squinted his eyes in annoyance. What do you want, you flea bag? Don't you see I'm watching my favorite show? Replied Clarion while slurping his smoothie. Grant us access to the tower, and I promise an end to your suffering, said a tall man with a ponytail and a goatee, dressed in a simple white shirt open showing his hairy chest and with black trousers. He was Abracadabra, and he was threatening a tied-up and rough-housed Ken Nelson. If you keep refusing, well, after Abracadabra shocked Ken Nelson with his wand, causing the old man to scream in pain. Yes, said Clarion, clapping from his seat. Enjoy it while you can. My friends will come to my rescue, said a tired Kent. He had been through this for most of his life, and there was nothing Clarion or his stooge could do that he hadn't dealt with before. Oh. Unfortunately, Abracadabra didn't like the response, so he shocked him again. Encore! Encore! It was clear Clarion was loving this. Meow! Said the cat before hissing. What? Exclaimed Clarion angrily at his familiar's interruption. Meow. Why didn't you say it before, you stupid mutt? That changes everything, said Clarion, exasperated. Raw. Oh? You said it before? Well, you should have been clearer, you big dummy, said Clarion with a big smile. After all, they got visitors. And the night was still young and Clarion was sure his show could get a pair of new cast members. After reaching Tornado's coordinates, they just arrived in an empty zone. Is empty, said Superba. Step aside, said Naruto to the rest of the team. Unmute, said Naruto, whispering to his ring. After saying that, the ring started glowing in green light. Access granted, said Naruto's ring. Ring, scan the area, search for any form of intelligent life or any nearby potential energy source. From Naruto's ring, activated a green scanner around the area. No life form or potential energy source detected, said the ring, causing Naruto to sigh. Shoot. The ring didn't found anything, said Naruto with disappointment. Are you guys sure we are in the right place? Maybe that tower is camouflaged by adaptive micro-optoelectronics combined with phase shifting? Said Artemis, only for her fellow blonde to shake his head in denial. Even if it was camouflaged by whatever that things are, the ring would have detected something, even a particle, explained the lantern. Is like nothing was there. Maybe the ring is broken, said Superboy to Naruto. That impossible. A Geo ring doesn't malfunction nor breaks, Naruto replied, shaking his head in denial. Trust me, if the ring breaks or something, I would be the first in the entire core millennium-long history. In that case, clearly mystic powers are at work here. They must have overpowered your ring radar, said Wally, keeping his wizard facade. Artemis glares, while Superbo and Aqualad look skeptical. Meow, said Tico while looking at Clarion. Just because you have one good idea doesn't make you a genius, said Clarion, huffing at his familiar. I would have come with the idea of cloaking us to hide. Eventually. Meow. Yes, I would. Meow. Yes, I would. Abracadabra facepalmed at watching the witch boy arguing with his cat. Those magical powers better be worth it. That's actually a pretty good theory, said Naruto, unsure if that was a diss against him or Wally keeping his magician persona. Still, he didn't really care. Unlike Wally, Naruto genuinely believed in magic. A mix of being raised with Japanese folk tales and living in the same city as Zatara all his life caused him to hold such beliefs. Oh, the stories he heard about the hero, like the time his mom's entire precinct was turned into frogs, made a lasting impression. That was a weird afternoon for Kushina and the entire 99th precinct of Brooklyn. Sadly, that means I'm out of ideas. Any suggestions? Said a disappointed Naruto to the team. I got an idea, said Calder, remembering the key Tornado gave him. A test of fate, muttered Calder while inspecting the key. He started remembering his training at the Conservatory of Magic in Atlantis. Stay behind me, he commanded. If this went wrong, he didn't want his team getting hurt. He pushed the key like if there was a door in front of him. Only to the surprise of the team, half PF, the key disappeared. He turned it. A brown brick tower appeared suddenly with a wooden door at the entrance. Fuck magic tower, said an impressed Naruto, only to start knocking the bricks in the tower. Awesome. They are solid. Slowly Calder opened the door, and the teens entered the tower, albeit hesitantly. After they entered, they looked around to see no doors. Even the entrance had disappeared. Where'd the door go? Asked Superba. Fuck magic tower, said Naruto, now in a depressed tone. Hey tower! Show us the old man, said Naruto, screaming to the tower. Why are you yelling? Questioned Superba at the blonde. This is a magic tower, it could be alive. I just wanted to save us the time to look room for room. That the most ridiculous thing I have ever. The tower answered in the form of Ken Nelson. Or at least a hologram of him. All the Titans stared wide-eyed to Nelson. No one saw that coming. I want $1 million! Screamed Naruto to the air, only this time nothing happened. Well, it was worth to try. Greetings. You entered with a key, but the tower does not recognize you. Please state your purpose and intent, said the hologram of Ken Nelson. Before anyone could respond, the resident speedster decided to answer. "Greetings, Almighty One, we are true believers, here to find Dr. Fate," said Wally to the projection in hope of impressing Gon. Sadly, Ken Nelson only could frown in disappointment at the speedster response before vanishing to the air. "Guys, why did the old man look to us like if we're an abandoned puppy?" asked Artemis fearfully to her teammates. Sadly, before they could answer, the floor started to break, dropping them directly into a lava pit. While everyone is falling, Naruto acted quickly and used his ring to create a green floor to catch everyone. "The tower doesn't like trespassers," warned Kent while the two magicians dragged him to his tower. "And those who go unprepared always pay the price." The tower had a secret ability, a powerful magic knob put millennia ago in case somebody tried to invade the tower, and the reason why Clarion didn't bother to go alone and had to kidnap him and work with people like Abracadabra to gain the helmet. The tower self-actualized. His old friend Dr. Midnight compared to a virus once. If the tower feel threatened, it created a response, and if that response is overcome, the tower create a new one, and it start a cycle until the enemy is dead. That was one of the reasons Kent always felt comfortable leaving the tower and all the artifacts he kept inside alone during his travels. No one that ever attempted to invade the tower succeeded. However, Abracadabra didn't like the threat and responded by shoving Kent to the floor. "Shut up, old man." "Yes, kick him. Kick him while he is down," said Clarion to his companion. "Is this the best you got?" said Kent, his eyes locked defiantly against the illusionist. "Wildcat punched harder after we went for drinks." "You loser," responded Kent with a mocking smile against Abracadabra. "Mute," Kadabra commands. Act choking Kent, a black collar appears around his neck. Kent's magical projection appears right in front of him. "Hello, Kent," he greets. "How unlike you to bring guests to the tower, especially one with such potent mystic power." Kadabra raises a hand and suddenly the collar says, "My friends come to help me." It's mechanical and wrung out, but definitely Kent's voice. Kent's projection smiles and the wall opens once more, revealing stairs that run in all directions, regardless of gravity. Kadabra smiles smugly. As all three begin up the stairs, does the wall close behind them. "I think we are okay. At least for now," Naruto says to the others who were resting in his construct. That a lot of lava, said Gon, who was watching the magma floor from the safety of Naruto construct before falling to his knees, having trouble standing up. "Gon, are you okay?" asked Superb while running to her side. Calder also wipes the sweat off his brow. "My physiology and Ganas are susceptible to heat. We must get out of here quickly. GL, can you lift us to the ceiling?" "There is a small problem with that," said Artemis, pointed to the ceiling. "There is no hole, and just like the archer said, the hole from which the team fall was covered up, showing only the brick ceiling." "Then we make one," said Super by clenching his fists. And just like if it was issued a challenge, the tower's walls started to move, the stone breaking around it, and 3 giant boulders end up falling right in front of the lantern-constructed floor. And then it happened, the boulders started to show orange lines around them, which was once solid stone suddenly grew arms and legs. They became lava golems. As the team found themselves facing lava golems, the situation escalated quickly. "We've got company!" Artemis shouted, drawing her bow and readying an arrow. Naruto's eyes widened as he assessed the looming threats. "Lava golems? Seriously?" Finally some action, and just like that, Superbit jumped directly at one of the golems and punched repeatedly, his head quickly reducing it to rubble. Meanwhile, Naruto quickly flew directly to another one. Considering that he is the one holding literally everyone lives, he decided that he can't risk creating something too complex, so he went with a classic instead. And from Naruto ring, a giant 15 feet tall mechanical fist appeared in the air, which quickly pummeled the golem. The giant fist collided with the golem with tremendous force, causing it to stagger backward under the onslaught. Each blow from the mechanical construct cracked and weakened the golem's rocky exterior, until it finally broke. "Yes, just one more," said Naruto before quickly moving the fist to smash the remaining golem. "Hey, Gio, get us out of here before they call their friends," said Artemis to the blonde. Guys, I've been trying to do that the whole time," said sheepishly Naruto. "What do you mean the whole time?" yelled Superba. "I mean that for some reason this thing isn't going up," yelled Naruto. "Is like something is trying to hold me." "Oh, you gotta be kidding me," yelled angrily Naruto after realizing what is happening. "What happened?" asked Kid Flash. "The tower is gripping the floor. Everyone, I need you guys to come here now," said Naruto to the rest of the Titans. "The tower is dash?" questioned incredulously Wally. Wally! Shouted angrily Naruto, just come here. After saying that, the rest of the Titans quickly surrounded the lantern, making him sigh in relief. Naruto dissolved the floor construct except for the part in which the Titans were standing, who later Naruto switched into a sphere. Everyone hold up, said Naruto before elevating them directly to the ceiling. At least that was the plan. A giant Hulkling-like lava hand rise up from the bottom of the mountain and was grabbing the construct. Are you kidding me? Responded Naruto while trying to blast away with a green blast, only for the arm to quickly reform. He was getting tired. Not only was that thing surprisingly strong, but it was heating the whole shield up. Fuck, now he knows how his ramen feel. Hey, are the walls getting closer? Said Superbit, to which the team look around, and yes, the walls are getting closer. Apparently the tower not only wanted to roast them alive but also wanted to squish them like sardines. I'm gonna kill Tornado, said Artemis in a surprisingly calm tone, the one you get after your anger overreach your limit. He sent us to a fucking death trap. Tornado, that's it. Hello, Megan. Gen said through gasps, having got an idea after hearing Tornado's name. We never truly answered the question. She turned her head slightly. Red Tornado sent us to see if Mr. Nelson and the helmet were safe. A panel slides shut underneath, taking care of the lava claw, and the walls are beginning to distance themselves from the teens, causing them to sigh in relief, just like a huge weight was lifted of their backs. After relaxing, Naruto dissolved his construct and let the others walk around the platform. After seeing Artemis rush to the lantern side, are you okay? She asked with worry in her voice. The lantern just gave a goofy smile. This, don't worry, is not my first volcano, Naruto said, giggling. This platform, Calder realizes, touching it with both his hands. It should be red hot, but it is cool to the touch. Don't worry, Megalicious, I gotcha, Wally says, helping the weakened green girl to her feet. Enough, said an ireful Artemis, that was the drop that overflowed her patient's glass, and walked straight to the speedster to give him a piece of her mind. Your little impress Gan at all cost game nearly got us all roasted alive. And you can even say you're sorry. What is your problem? My problem? When did this become my fault? Wally defended himself with a glare to the archer. When you said you were a true believer. Obviously the doctor had a defense against lies. Snapped back Naruto. Don't stick your nose where no one asked you, warned Wally. Don't talk to him like that. Especially considering he is the only reason you weren't barbecued, Artemis interjected, her voice dripping with disdain as she turned to Wally. Unlike you, who only cares about lying to impress Gan. Wally, you lied to me, said a surprisingly hurt Gon. She was born in a society of telepaths. The idea of lying to someone is not only strange, is almost impossible. She didn't like it. Wally glares at Naruto before speaking out in exacerbation. Fine. Fine. I lied about believing in magic. But magic's the real lie, it's all a major load. Wally, I studied for a year at the Conservatory of Sorcery in Atlantis. The mystic mages created the skin icons that power my water bearers, replied Aqualad. Dude, you ever hear of bioelectricity? Answered Wally. Hey, in primitive culture, fire of all things was considered magic. It's all a bunch of tricks. Wally. I've been to space, and believe it or not, in some cultures magic is treated just like is just another science, declared Naruto, his voice filled with annoyance. Just because some dumb alien's given up in trying to explain stuff doesn't make it real, answered. You're pretty closed-minded for a guy who can break the sound barrier in his sneakers. Artemis spoke up. That's science. Wally speaks simply. I recreated the Flash's experiment, and here I am, he says with a sarcastic hand gesture of grandeur. Everything can be explained by science. Look at his ring, for example. The original Green Lantern believed his ring was magical when in reality is just a light generator who used the user emotion as a power button. Bam, science solves another mystery. Calder smirks. Let us test that theory. Then grabs an unseen handle. Wait, the backdraft from the lava will roast us alive, Wally protests, but Calder opens it anyway. The door opens, however, with a snow flurry, accompanied by gusting winds and an expansive tundra space beyond. It's snow! Gan cried cheerfully. Artemis looks up at Wally's angry face with a smirk. Do you ever get tired of being wrong? Naruto took advantage of the moment, a created scoreboard which says Magic 1 Tool 0. The rest of the Titans jump through the hole only to their surprise end up standing in a field of snow. Is snow. Real snow, said Naruto, grabbing the snow of the floor with his hand. This is awesome. Magic rules. So this is snow, said Gon, giggling while she was touching a little of the floor. Is cold. But also very beautiful. There is nothing like this on Mars. Gon has seen things like snow in books and TV shows, but as one thing is to feel it, and another is to actually experience it, there was nothing like this on Mars. For Mgan, who had never experienced snow before, the sensation was especially delightful. She reveled in the cold, enjoying the novelty of the icy landscape and the unique sensations it offered. It was a stark contrast to the warm, arid climate of Mars. She is really loving Earth, the places, the people. She can see why her Uncle John decided to make it his adopted home, and maybe it could be hers too. Well? Artemis asks, a confident look on her face, still believing magic is fake. Ever hear of string theory? He questions sarcastically. We're in a pocket dimension. That's when the cane showed up. It appeared in a flashlight and hovered in one spot. What's that? Miss Martian asked as everybody looked at it. Ooh, maybe it's Nelson's magic wand, Wally scoffed. The douche is right, that is the same cane Nelson had on RT files, said Naruto. Ignoring the lantern comment, the speedster ran in the cane direction. Or at least that was the plan before a giant green hand stopped him. What do you think you're doing, said Naruto threateningly, glaring to the redhead. What I'm doing? What you think I'm doing? I'm grabbing that cane so we can get out of Wonderland and back to reality, responded smugly Kid Flash. The sparks were intense between the pair. The tension in the air was palpable as Naruto and Kid Flash locked eyes, each unwilling to back down. But before the situation could escalate further, Artemis stepped in, her voice cutting through the tension like a knife. Stop it, both of you, she commanded, her tone firm and authoritative. We need to work together to figure this out, not fight amongst ourselves. Naruto clenched his fists, his frustration evident. Fine, he relented, reluctantly releasing his construct. But if you do anything stupid, it's on you. Kid Flash scoffed, but he didn't push the issue further. Instead, he turned his attention back to the mysterious cane hovering in the air. Let's see what this thing's all about, he muttered, cautiously approaching it. Wait, said Naruto, stopping the speedster. At least let me put a barrier around it so it doesn't melt everyone's faces and kill us later, said Naruto while creating a small walled path so Wally can walk and grab the cane. Dude, I'm not a Nazi, replied Wally, knowing perfectly well where the reference come from. Yeah, just an idiot who almost got all of us killed. How long ago was it? 5 to 10 minutes? I don't have my watch. Enough. If you guys are going to keep being children, then I'm going to do it, exclaimed an annoyed Artemis. I said I'm going to do it, Wally declared, speeding over to grab it at the same time Artemis does. I got it, they synchronize. Then Wally, Artemis, and Naruto begin to glow gold. Huh? They all question in shock. I can't let go, they all say simultaneously. Then, without hesitation, they are all dragged up by the cane and disappear in a flash of light. 5. Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Clarion had been asking that for a while now, and frankly it was getting on Abra's nerves. But it wasn't like he could do anything about it. He wasn't a magician, that was the whole point of this. His shtick of using a magician persona with super tech wasn't working. Still, that doesn't mean he couldn't find a way to finish this torture sooner. Tell us how to find the helmet, he demands, clearly becoming aggravated. Kent glares, but can't say anything due to the collar around his neck. In a second, Kadabra removes it, throwing it over his shoulder with a smug look. It saddens me, Kent says, though his voice is hoarse. He's smiling. If all modern crooks are this pathetic, then the kids will never have much fun as we did. Abra held out his wand and began electrocuting the man. H, he shouted while writhing in floor in pain. How is this for pathetic? That was fun, Clarion responded with a sinister laugh. Zap him again and then burn him in oil or dump him off the side and watch him splat, he encouraged. Tikal nudged him to gain his attention. Yes, Clarion sighed. I suppose we might still need him, he noted dejectedly. After the disappearance of our teammates, the rest of the Titans decided to explore the Winterland in search of answers or Dr. Fate, said Superba, annoyance evident in his tone. Aqualad squinted his eyes and sighed, understanding Superba's frustration given his origins. And to think we got all of this just because of an old man. That Kent guy better be worth it, said an annoyed Superba at the comment. Aqualad squinted his eyes and sighed. After all, considering his origins, he couldn't blame Superba. I guess Cadmus didn't think it was important to teach you about the JSA. Right. Calder asked. Superba nodded. People with powers were rare, but the first generation of a group was the Justice Society of America, Aqualad remarked, disappointment coloring his words. Yeah, Tornado mentioned them, explained Gan. Weren't they like a prototype version of the League? They were much more than that. The Justice Society of America was a group of mystery men that operated between 40s-50. And among their charter members existed the champion of the mortal realm, the hero Dr. Fate. Criminals, invaders, demons, and even injustices societies. The JSA vanquished them all, said Aqualad, only for his face to frown. The disgust was evident. Sadly, the US government pressured the heroes to reveal their identities, and rather than keep fighting, they decided to retire. So they decided to just let them walk over them? Why didn't they fight back instead? They are supposed to be heroes, answered angrily Superboy. The JSA thought the safety of their loved ones was more important than the mission. So they decided to leave the life. To be honest, I can't blame them, explained Calder, even though he noticed his friend wasn't really satisfied with the answer. Still, that doesn't change the fact that we probably wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Kent and the rest of the JSA. They would have continued with the conversation, but something caught Megan's attention. Look there, she pointed out, and the others followed her line of sight. It was a door on top of a hill in front of them. They all looked at each other before making their way to it. I don't think we are in Kansas anymore, said Naruto, even though he didn't touch the cane. The fact that his construction in a way did touch it must count. Sometime he hate loopholes. Apparently Oz had stairs, lot of stairs. Some were upside down, other were defying the gravity, but they were stairs for sure. Naruto noticed a trio men, and while he recognized Ken Nelson, who was currently laying on the floor, the Hispanic man, and the Antichrist 2.0 were unknown to him. Abracadabra, said Wally while scowling. Wally recognized him. He and Flash fought him a few times, but the last he heard of him, he was currently serving 20 life in Iron Heights Penitentiary. Well, would you look at that, said Ken, taking advantage of his captor's distraction. He flew towards the cane, and after taking a hold of it, he used it to make his binds disappear. In here, said Kent while making an elevator appear. No! 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 Clarion said angrily. I want that helmet! I want it! I want it! I want it! Screamed Clarion while unleash a red lighting bolt against the elevator, obli for the door to close, blocking the attack. My apologies for the troubles, I'm Ken Nelson, by the way, Kent said, introducing himself to the teens. No duh, your tower almost killed us, Wally scoffed. He was met with a dope slap from Naruto. Ow. Excuse him. Mr. Nelson, Wally over here suffer from a terminal acylitis. Sadly there is no cure, Naruto said in fake sadness while Wally fumed himself up. I'm Naruto. You already met Wally, and that is my friend Artemis, the girl answered by slowly waving her hand. Kent inspected the kids. While the blonde girl is unknown to him, so that means she is related to some members of the League he hadn't met, which rule out Dinah, Billy, Giovanni, Reddy, or Diana among others. The red-headed kid must be Wally West or Kid Flash. He already knew of him. After all, Jay spoke about him and Barry constantly. Which leave Naruto, it didn't take too much time to notice the ring that was in his hand. So this is the next generation of heroes. Not bad. Not bad at all. A blonde Green Lantern, Just like Alan thought, Kent, remembering on his closest and oldest friends the first and original Green Lantern of Earth, Alan Scott. Luckily that rings of yours could help us out, Naruto, because we're up against an opponent with tremendous mystic power, told the old man. Abracadabra? Wally asked. Flash proved he uses futuristic technology to simulate magic. Guys all show and no biz, the speedster mocked. Right you are, Kent agreed. He is? Artemis asked in surprise. Wally had a smug look on his face. Well, even a broken clock is right twice a day, said Naruto after dealing with the speedster antics during the mission. He didn't want to give him the satisfaction. Not at all. Abra is a charlatan, Kent continued. But Clarion, the witch boy, the kid with the cat, he's an actual Lord of Chaos, the ultimate enemy of a Lord of Order like Dr. Fate. What is a Lord of Chaos? Asked Naruto. Guess they didn't explain much about magical beings on that planet of yours, said Kent. To summarize, a Lord of Chaos is an entity born to cause mayhem and destroy any semblance of order in the universe. They are ultimate enemies of a Lord of Order like Dr. Fate. Right, Wally mocked. You're a Lord of Order. Oh no, not me, Kent responded nonchalantly. I'm just an old coat Fate used to put on until my wife Inza convinced me there could be more to life, he said. He pulled out a pocket watch and opened it. Inside was a picture of his wife. Ah, she was a real pistol, that Inza, he said fondly. Anywho, Clarion's after the helmet, Kent continued. If he gets his sticky little mitts on it, He'll turn the planet into his own personal playground of pandemonium. Yeah, his own personal Korrigar, said Naruto, grumbling his thoughts. Korrigar? Asked Artemis, looking at her fellow blonde. Long story, but basically a lantern turning evil on his planet. It ended badly for everyone involved. While the history of Korrigar and the fall of Sinestro isn't a secret at all, and Naruto wasn't even involved in this, he didn't think is the place or the time to tell the full of story, especially considering the GLC is still doing damage control in Sector 1417 and the fact that Sergeant Katma was outright banished from her planet for being a lantern. Yeah, ended bad for everyone involved indeed. Ding. Then the elevator doors revealed the same stair-like hall, only in this case there was a giant golden bell in the middle. The teen followed Ken to the bell, only to be interrupted by a hole in the ceiling opened up that dropped Superba and Aqualad to the floor. Gan followed a moment later, though she floated down. The perks of having flying as a superpower. Friends of yours? Ken asked the speedster with a sly smile. Then there was a flash of light and Abra and Clarion revealed themselves. Friends of yours? Wally retorted. Meanwhile, Naruto put a shield to protect them from a torrent of electricity Abra sent after them while they tried to reach the bell. Ken held up his cane and, like it was a gong, used it to hit the bell, causing it to ring. After that he entered the bell with the two teen following him. Meanwhile, Clarion flew directly to them and also entered the bell. Naruto and company were suddenly on the top of the Tower of Fate. And at the center rested the Helmet of Fate. The source of all this trouble, an artifact of a magnificent mystic might. Kent was reaching to take the helmet to do something he had been avoided for decades, as the least he could do, because in his heart he knows that all of this was his fault. If he had told his friends, or make more of an effort to warn them of his little walkabouts like Jay asked him, no one would be on this mess. And more important, 16s wouldn't have to face Clarion. Clarion, his most powerful foe, his archenemy, a primordial being whose only purpose is to bring destruction and annihilate everyone who dared to oppose him, his Rock of Sisyphus. An enemy that doesn't matter how many times he defeated, he always returned. Well, he knows what to do to push the rock through the hill one last time. One last time, thought Kent, at least until a red blast shot him directly on the chest. Ugh, said the old man while he grumbled in the ground. Mr. Nelson, said both teens at the same time. Clarion, taking the chance, decided to send another red blast to finish the job once and for all. However, once again Naruto used a bubble shield to block the blast. Shit, that was a tough one, thought the blonde, because even though Naruto blocked the attack without let Clarion destroy his construct, he still felt the impact. So he knew one thing: he isn't going to win the fight playing defensive, he need to be offensive. Luckily for him, that is his specialty. Wally listened carefully. Naruto said, gaining the redhead attention, I need you to grab the helmet and Mr. Nelson out of here. I deal with Clarion. But Naru. Just do it. Trust me, I'd be fine, said Naruto before taking a big breath. He had the perfect construction for this. And then the energy surrounded the shield left both Kent and Wally and started to grow until it dwarfed any constructions Wally ever saw. The blonde made in the short time he was on the team, it was at least half of the size of the tower. Luckily for them, it was floating in the air. But that not the issue is. Is that Gurren fucking Lagann? Screamed the speedster. Indeed, the construction is a green replica of Gurren Lagann, specifically his first form, the Gurren Lagann. The only differences were that it has horns on his head and spikes on his sides, but aside from that it was identical. After all, I'm a manga nut with a power ring, screamed Naruto, feeling like a huge weight is lifted from his shoulders. According to Kilowog, Naruto has a natural talent for big constructions. The problem is that sometimes you need a scalpel, not a sword, and Naruto's small construction didn't come as natural to him. Naruto normally deals with this issue being calm and thinking small, but that is a hard-to-shake feeling, so sometimes he has trouble switching sides. According to Hell, this is known as Superman syndrome, which means too much time holding back that you later have trouble stopping it, so to him, being let loose is incredibly relaxing. Clarion smirked at the sight of the robot. Just because you're now big doesn't. I don't care what you're saying, kick! And indeed, in a perfect imitation of a soccer ball, Naruto kicked Clarion off the tower into the sky. You little bra, Clarion began. Shut up, midget! Blast! And from the mouth of the robot a green energy blast flew directly to Clarion, forcing the witch boy defend himself in a red shield. You think you can take me, brat? Clarion's features had become more demonic as he glared at the lantern. I only need to think it witchy, Naruto responded. His eyes went from green to a glowing green while he glared at the Lord of Chaos. At the lantern challenge, Clarion surrounded himself in a red aura that took the form of a ferocious saber-toothed tiger. Both of them charged at each other with all their might. Their clash released a sonic boom that echoed through the area. Meanwhile, Wally was watching the fight while he was trying to lift Kent. Wally said, the weakened voice of Kent, a mix of the blast, his age, and the past weeks of torture were passing their bill. He didn't have much time. We don't have much time, said the doctor. Keep your strength, Mr. Nelson, I'm going to take you to an hospital, said Wally while Kent was resting on his shoulder. Boy, Kent said, gasping in his breath while watching directly to Wally in the eyes, your friend is not going to last. Clarion is not like any foe he ever faced. You know what you need to do. I have no idea what I need to do, replied Wally, unsure at his request, while this knight did shook his beliefs. If you are half of the man Jay thinks you are, you will, said Kent before pummeling to the floor. His heart stopped beating. 6. And then Kent Nelson, founding members of the JSA, died. And sadly Wally knew what to do. Naruto Gurren was currently grabbing Clarion Tiger in a headlock pin before releasing a drill directly through the construction torso mouth. That shoved Clarion directly to the ground. Taking a moment of his faux weakness, let's end this, screamed Naruto, unleashing the full might of his will in one shot that destroyed Clarion construction. Clarion gritted his teeth and snapped his fingers, and suddenly he turned into simple black feather scattering in the wind. Naruto, after believing he defeated the Lord of Chaos, relaxed and took a few seconds to gain a second air. However, unknown to Naruto, Clarion was taking advantage of his faux distraction, and once he reformed, looking pretty much uninjured, he conjured an enormous red sword and launched directly to the lantern back. UGHHHHH! Screamed the blonde, trying to keep his construct stable, while sword pierced the lantern construction back. In the end, his efforts remained because the once crystalline construction turned into a shattered one. Before the Lord of Chaos Naruto could attack again, responded by conjuring a giant drill. Eat this. The drill clashed directly with Clarion's sword. The sparks between the constructions illuminated the whole battlefield, both clashing until one of the creation breaks. And suddenly Clarion smiled maliciously, and with the snaps of his fingers his sword dissolved into thousands of mini swords, and while Naruto tried to block them, more than a few impaled Naruto's body. Ugh! And suddenly a red bolt started running through the knives, electrifying and chaining to the ground. And now for the final touch, Clarion says, creating a giant red drill and start pointing directly to Naruto, who thanks to the electricity couldn't dissolve the construct. You aren't the only who can make drills, boy. Not today, witch boy, someone commented. Then Clarion was sent flying by a blast of golden light. Naruto turned to see a golden helmet-wearing man floating in the air. Dr. Fate. No, 0, said Clarion, throwing a tantrum while using magic to involve his hands in a red fire. Why, you must always ruin my fun. Haven't you learned order went out of style in the 20th century, said Clarion, throwing fireballs at the Lord of Order. Leave my domain at once, you spoiled little brat, or risk being destroyed. Even ones as foolish as you must understand you failed your endeavor, threatened Nabu. In your dreams, Nabu, you old fart, answered Clarion, unleashing a red inferno to Nabu, who blocked it, invoking a golden ink. Wally blinks as he's suddenly assaulted with a total lack of anything resembling where he just was. Okay. No problem. Wally mumbles to himself, despite the echo that just said that. I'm not here. I'm just delusional. Probably something I ate. That burrito tasted funny anyway. Still don't believe? Kent's voice asks with a chuckle. Seriously, kid, how'd you get so bullheaded in 15 short years? Wally turns to the source, shocked to see Kent standing before him. But you're. Yep, Ken knows what he's trying to say. But don't feel bad. Soon as this little brouhaha is over, my spirit will ascend, and I'll be reunited with my beloved Inza. Oh. Okay. Wally stutters out. Wait, but does that mean that I'm Dash? Kent sighs good-naturedly, cutting him off. You're alive. Kent places a hand on Wally's shoulder, but seeing him flinch away, he removes it. But your soul no longer controls your body. See, we're inside the helmet. You put it on, and my soul got sucked in, probably because I spent so many years serving Nabu. Nabu? Questions Wally. Nabu was a powerful demigod in ancient Babylonia. In honor of his heroic acts, the primordial forces of the universe ascended him into a Lord of Order. The helmet we put on gives Nabu a host body to interact in the mortal plane. Wait, that means he is possessing my body. Wait a second, how is Naruto? Your friend is fine, Nabu saved him. Still, he did a lot better than I expected. Sadly, he didn't know how to fight a Lord of Chaos, remarked sadly Kent, and while he was impressed at his display, he made a crucial mistake. He didn't attack the cat. Clarion is pretty much immortal, so the only way to truly defeat him is defeating Tikal, his anchor in the mortal plane. Nothing else works. Want to watch how are they doing? Naruto found it difficult to breathe. He put it all in that final blast against Clarion, and if it wasn't for Kent he would have died. Hell, even standing up is merit of his own. Tomorrow he would sleep all day for sure. Still, he slapped his cheeks to wake up. He could stop daydreaming. Now he wants payback with that brat. Give up. Your effort is futile. Even you must recognize the fight with the boy weaken you. Nah. Nah. I don't listen to smelly old man. You smelly fart, said Clarion, launching red magic tiger at Fates, forcing the magician to jump out of the way. As it comes back around, he puts up a shield. Naruto, taking advantage that Clarion wasn't paying attention to him, he created green chains that he launched to the demonic boy, raping his arms in green cuffs. What is this, said Clarion, destroying the cuffs Naruto created. You think you can't stop me? I'm chaos incarnate. Just a fancy ring is not enough to stop me, boy. Yes, but I can, said Fate, summoning his ankh and using it to bind now. Which boy? You're defenseless, so I repeat, leave now or face the consequences. Do your best. Nothing you do can stop me, taunted Clarion. But what about your familiar, mocked Dr. Fate after shooting a golden beam directly to the cat. Tickle! Clarion shouts, rising to his feet and turning to Fate. I can't believe you assault a defenseless pussycat. We both know that creature is no cat. Which boy? Fate eyes narrow in accusation. And without your familiar, the yellow flames that surrounded Tickle fade out as she wearily stands to her feet. The yellow flame now gathered in Fate's hands. You have no anchor in this reality. Proving it, Clarion fades from sight in staggering increments. Bully! Killed you! Geezer! Fate raises his hands, shooting another beam, this time at Clarion. The witch boy yelps before jumping into a red/black portal. Another forming above Tickle, where he drops out and picks her up in his arms. Hey kid, you better watch your back, because next time no more Mr. Nice Guy, said Clarion before fully dissolving into black and red outlined wisps that take off toward the sky. What a pleasure, said Naruto before leaning his back on the floor. He was tired and needed the rest. Yes. That's how we kick it on the earthly plane, Wally cheered as he watched Clarion retreat. He made to take the helmet off but remembered he couldn't and waited for Nabu to do it. But the Lord of Order never did. It's over, right? Wally said, trying to confirm. So why isn't Nabu taking off the helmet? Because the Earth needs Dr. Fate. I will not release this body. He can't do that, Wally shouted in anger. Wait, can he do that? He can. But he shouldn't. Kent was afraid of this. Even in his best days, Nabu was a temperamental and sometime unpredictable. Why spent the last 70 years trying to prepare the champions of the magical world to create a world that didn't need him. Sadly, in his death he had to admit he failed, but if he can save one more soul, everything would have been worth it. This is not the right candidate. We both know the kid has a great fate awaiting him away from the world of sorcery. True. Nabu agrees, but his tone is dark. But I do not appreciate being permanently hidden away, useless, and isolated for decades at a time. No one can say anything. Chaos must not be allowed to reign. He snaps. That won't happen again. The boy, take the helmet and make sure you're put to good use, says Kent. After all, even he had to admit Nabu had a point in being angry after being left in a tower for 70 years. Not one of his proudest moments, to be honest. Yeah. I swear. Wally agrees, smiling brightly. And in the meantime, I'll stick around, keep you company, Kent says, a touch of sadness in his voice. Wally turns to Kent instantly, horrified. Wait. What happened to you ascending? Seeing Inza? His voice saddening as he asks each question. So you believe now, eh? Kent taunts. Don't sweat it, kid. I'll spend a few millennia here, then see Inza. He flips open his watch to look down at her picture once more. His own voice turns sad. That's the great thing about eternity. It's eternal. The bargain is acceptable, Nabu says darkly. Do me a favor before you left. Give Jay and Joan a big hug for me. Would you? Asked Kent, leaving Wally wide-eyed. How could he forget? Kent was one of Jay's oldest of the friends he left to die. Also, while yellow is not a bad color, I think you would look better on red. Looking around, Wally finds himself still on the roof. Walking over to Kent, he sets the helmet down and places the watch back in his hand, closing his fingers around it. Then looking down at the man he couldn't save. Blaming himself? If he had been more humble, if he didn't waste so much time trying to impress him again, maybe Kent would still be alive. After all, just because the bad guys lost doesn't mean they won. This wasn't a win. Wally placed the helmet on the shelf, right between the remains of the OMAC and Cheshire. All the memories it had with the helmet, he just expect he can find a successor soon. Kent doesn't deserve to spend eternity with Nabu. You never said what happened to you when you put on the helmet, asked Naruto to Wally. Energy from the thing rewrote my brain's beta waves, Wally explained. I was bioscripted into becoming Dr. Fate for a few minutes, he continued. No big. Dude. Come on, is me, Naruto said unimpressed. You don't have to lie or keep a charade. I'm not going to tell anyone. Trust me. I'm not lying, proclaims Wally. Dude. Wally face frowns and his eyes starting to water like a pressure that was in there. I'm such an asshole, said Wally between sobbing. If I didn't keep wasting time trying to prove I'm smarter than everyone else, then maybe Kent would still be alive. You did the best you could. You used the helmet. Not many people would have done it. Then why I think I'm a piece of shit, said Wally while his tone darkened. How much time wasted trying to impress a girl without thinking on a hostage. Stupid. Stupid. Once Hal Jordan told me the best thing you can do in cases like this is to keep going. Don't be sad because they died, be happy for the people you helped instead. We didn't know Kent Nelson all that much, but I don't think he blames you for his death. So you really shouldn't. How you think I would look in red? Asked Wally. Naruto, catching on what Wally was implying, decided to give an honest answer. There is no better person for the job. You really think that? Said Wally. I really do. Thanks, I really needed this. Any time after saying that, Naruto deciding it's best to leave the speedster alone. After all, he know how it feels to fail at saving someone and the pressure of being the last in a legacy. August 27th. Mount of Justice. Worst mission ever, said Naruto, spiting some mud from his mouth, while trying to take some from his hair, uniform, arms, legs, basically his entire body. Apparently Batman and Robin were tracking some mud meta, which means that the Titans spent hours looking for him in the Gotham City sewer system. He wasn't a squeamish person, but he was sure the stink isn't coming off in a long while. And that isn't even the worst part. Turned out that mud guy was a shapeshifter, so taking most of the team by surprise, he took us down one by one. That's what he gets for following Aqualad's cry for help. If it wasn't for Batman saving our butts, that piece of mud would have escaped, or, worse, killed the whole team. That was a huge blow to his ego. Definitely the worst mission ever. Except for that whole Red Lantern thing. So, top 10 at least. Still, he couldn't but be envious of Artemis, who had a mission with Green Arrow. Which leads us to the present, with an angry Batman scowling at the Titans. Or was he a relieved Batman? It's hard to see the difference. I need to talk with Aqualad. The rest of you hit the showers and head home, ordered Batman. So angry Batman it is. Head home? Said Superbo while crossing his arms and scowling at the Bat. I am home. Angry Superbo too. Well, that's pretty normal. Just Aqualad, said Batman while looking at his protege. Robin just stared at his mentor before sighing and leaving the Atlantean alone with him. Still, a part of him couldn't help but feel jealous of it. Hey KF, said Robin, gaining the attention of his friend. What do you think Batman wants with Calder? Knowing Bats, he probably wants a report of that meta for his files. You know how he is, said Wally to his friend. How he is? Asked Robin. I'm Batman. I need more data on this mud monster, who I need to ask, so they can tell me how I saved your butt, said Wally in a deep voice while putting two fingers at the back of his head. You know Bat stuff. I mean, what else could he want? What do you think, GL? Asked Robin to Naruto, who was scrubbing the mud of his hair before he took a shower. Sorry, I wasn't really paying attention, said Naruto with a yawn. Not enough sleep. That was an understatement. Between school, the team, and patrolling his own sector, Naruto was sleeping 1 to 3 hours at most every night. What Bats want with Calder, repeated Robin. Oh right, said Naruto. He is probably scolding him. I mean, the mission was a mess and Cal is the boss. It wasn't that bad, said Kid Flash, crossing his arms and turning his head to avoid the blonde look. Naruto deadpanned. We were laying on the ground with a giant mud monster about to treat our heads like piñatas. Trust me, if that wasn't bad, then I don't want to see a really bad mission. Both boys wanted to protest, but the more they thought, they realized he was right. The team's recent track record hadn't been well stellar. Protecting Dr. Rocket? A success, but half the assassins had escaped. Keeping the Helmet of Fate safe? A success, but at the cost of Kent Nelson's life. And now, being bailed out by Batman at the last second. Yet in hindsight they can see why Batman could be pissed. Well, in my case I just want to punch out and leave this night behind me, said Naruto to the pair. Do any of you guys know how to take away that sewer smell from the hair? Mix baking soda and vinegar in the shower. It may take a while but it works. However, never mix tomato juice. It doesn't help anything and it only made things messier, said Robin, much to the surprise of both teens. What is not my first time in the sewers, just be thankful that you didn't have to fight an alligator. Kid Flash blinked in surprise. Alligators? Seriously? Gotham get weird after dark. Trust me, this mission could have gone worse. August 27th. Brooklyn. After taking a good shower in the cave, Naruto Zeta beamed himself to an empty alley just a little while of the 3-bedroom apartment where he, his sister, and mother lived. It wasn't a luxurious place, but each had their own room. The bills were paid and they could even afford a few luxuries. He honestly couldn't really complain. Or at least that what he though while opening the door the most quietly way possible. He was wrong. The look of a detective, Kushina Uzumaki Namike sitting in a chair on the dark, said it all. And people said Batman was scary. You said you were going to come back hours at 2300 hours, not the next day, said Kushina sternly. What is with the James Bond looking act? Asked Naruto. Now are we going to get a cat so you can pet him while you wait? Kushina's eyes narrowed, unimpressed. Don't change the subject, young man, she said, her tone leaving no room for argument. You know the rules. Mission or not, you check in? I was worried sick. Look, I'm sorry, I didn't want to come this late. Believe it was just the mission was more complicated than we thought it was, explained Naruto to his mom. I promise you next time, I will text you. Okay, problem solved. It's not that, well, it is that, but not just that, said Kushina, attempting to explain herself. Your principal called the other day. Apparently it's the 3rd time they've found you sleeping in class in the past 2 weeks. I have good grades. Naruto defended himself. Kushina's stern expression didn't waver as she continued, good grades aren't everything, Naruto. You're spreading yourself too thin. Between school, your missions, and patrolling your entire sector, you're barely getting any sleep. It's taking a toll on you. You're 15 years old. It's not fair for you to work yourself to death. I'm fine. I just need a power nap, and I'll be okay, Naruto assured his mother. She wasn't impressed. Kushina crossed her arms, her gaze unwavering. A power nap isn't going to fix everything, Naruto. When was the last time you had a full night's sleep? Naruto hesitated, realizing he couldn't easily recall the last time he'd slept through the night. I don't know. Thursday, no, I had to help Hal with that band of Ungaran pirates on Silos 6. Ma, no, I had to transfer those prisoners to Mars. Son, number 2 weeks ago, I think? Finished Naruto meekly. Kushina's frown deepened as Naruto's voice trailed off, unable to find a single recent instance where he'd gotten a proper night's rest. Exactly, she said, her tone firm but laced with concern. Naruto hated when his mother got like this. Say what you want about having powers, but sometimes the power of a mother is stronger than any other force in the universe. Just ask Superman. That's what I'm talking about. You're running on fumes, Naruto said. Kushina is not healthy. If you want to keep this life, you need to balance it better or you will break. Even the strongest metal bar can break with enough force, is the same with people. Naruto wanted to protest or say something to his mother about how much he loved being a lantern and how much purpose it gave him joining the Corps even with all their issues, over how much he enjoyed meeting this whole new world, the adventures he had and all the people he helped. On the other hand, she was his mom, and Naruto loved her, so the answer was obvious. Okay mom, I will think about it, answered Naruto. It was his day off, and he was planning on catching up with schoolwork anyway. Also, I need you to babysit Rumi today. Wait, what? And you told me this now? What happened to relax and don't overwork yourself? Replied Naruto indignantly. Don't get him wrong, he loved his little sister, but also who wanted to be stuck babysitting at the last minute? Kushina gave him a flat look. All of that is true, but it's also true that unless you want to have a roof over our heads, we can't leave Rumi alone. I love that little girl, but... Naruto sighed but understood perfectly. The best way to describe Rumi was like if you give a hummingbird 10 liters of coffee mixed with an energy drink all at once, and the hummingbird also have ADHD. So yeah, keeping up with her was hard. Mom, I love Rumi, but it's my day off, said Naruto. Can we just leave her with Uncle Nagato and Aunt Konan? They are busy, they had a special day, and I really don't want to hear about my little brother love life. Ever, said Kushina. While she loved her little brother Nagato, and she did like Konan, she didn't want to mess their romantic getaway. Look, if it's any consolation, I'm sorry, but my captain called, it was an emergency. Besides, you're her big brother, and she looks up to you. You're going to be fine is not the end of the world. I don't get why you are being so difficult. You used to do it all the time. Well, yeah, but that was before this, said Naruto while lifting his hand and showing his GL ring. Okay, I see your point, but also I'm your mother, and I don't really care. You're doing it, finished Kushina. Naruto sighed, knowing that arguing with his mom would be useless. And well, how bad could babysit his sister actually be? Naru, said Rumi while grabbing her older brother's right arm in an attempt to get him out of the couch. He was wrong. Really wrong. Rumi, stop. Unless you want to burst out of the room with my severed arm. But I'm bored, said the little girl while pouting her cheeks. Besides, annoying you is funnier. Can we do literally anything else? Why don't we talk about the girl you were speaking the other day, Arisia, right? Anything but that. Where was a supervillain when you need one? Naruto looked at the window, only to see the calm blue sky. Hell, there were even birds singing. Damn it. Let's watch TV instead, Naruto said, turning on the TV. Maybe something will distract him, anything but superheroes. In the last news, the UK greatest defender, the Great Britannia, saved an oil tanker from sinking in the English Channel, saving millions in environmental damage. After a rough night of fighting crime, there's only place that serve in any bat time in any bat channel. Just go to Batburger. The dark night of meals is batastic. Who are the new top picks for new league members? Who is the bravest? Who is the boldest? Let's see what hero is good enough for the Justice League. You gotta be kidding me, Naruto said while face-palming because of the new channel. A muscular Caucasian male with short red hair and green eyes was seen riding a truck before smirking and getting off the car. People of Earth, it is I, Guy Gardner, the greatest Green Lantern in the history of the universe, and before you ask, yes. I'm always asked, hey Guy, how do you do to always smell so great if you're so busy saving the universe from evil aliens? The answer is simple, explained Guy while taking a green spray that say Warriors on it. With the all-new Warrior now you can follow the way of the Warrior just like me, Guy Gardner, 24/7, one shot, and believe me, no villain will dare face you. And remember, be brave. Be great, be Guy Gardner. Naru. Yes, Rumi. Do you need to sell deodorant now? No, Rumi. I do not. Rumi, meanwhile, was still bouncing with energy, now with an entirely new idea in her head. Naru, you should totally have your own commercial. You could sell energy drinks. Or maybe superhero capes. First of all, I don't even use a cape. Maybe I can use a trench coat, maybe, but not a cape. But Guy does it, Rumi insisted, pointing at the screen where Guy was still smugly displaying his Warrior's deodorant. And he's a Green Lantern too. Naruto rolled his eyes. Yeah, well, Guy Gardner is Guy Gardner. He also has a song about his, but he is not someone I want to copy. But you're way cooler than him, Rumi declared with the confidence only a younger sibling could have. That is also true, said Naruto. Do you want to do literally anything else? I already told me about this Arisia girl. You're not letting this go, right? Naruto sighed, realizing that Rumi wasn't going to let the topic slide. She had that determined look in her eyes, that fucking crazy Uzumaki eyes, that remind him way too much to his mother. What about if I tell you a story instead? Well, I guess, if we don't have anything better to do, I can listen a boring story. You're lucky I like you. This story is set in a galaxy far, far away in a strange planet called Oi, ruled by the most annoying of Smurfs. Planet Oi. March 10th. The planet Oi, one of the oldest and most revered planets in the universe, serves as the central hub for the Green Lantern Corps and their enigmatic masters, the Guardians of the Universe. This ancient world is an artificial construct, created with technology so advanced that even the most sophisticated civilizations in the galaxy can barely comprehend it. A place that was supposed to show the best of the best. Most of the time, anyway. Listen up, you puzzers! You call that flying? I seen geriatric sputions clearing this obstacle course faster than you. What do you puzzers are waiting for? Do you hear me? Screamed a pink boar man with the build of a small mountain. He was wearing a green armor with the GLC symbol in the middle of it. He was the Green Lantern of Sector 0674 and the Corps Drill Sergeant Kilowog. Sir, yes sir, exclaimed the recruits. I can't hear you, repeated Kilowog. Sir, yes, sir, repeated Naruto while floating midair, while avoiding a floating sphere that was shooting lasers at him. That was his routine now. The moments he isn't studying basic galactic law, procedure, or reviewing old case files, he spent it in CQC training, weapons training, ring manipulation, spaceship training, or just physical training, and when he is not doing any of that, he spent his evenings in the hazard room. A combat simulator that was capable of using a mixed robotics and holograms to simulate real-life scenarios that Lantern have to face. Right now, he and his squad are being tested in a drone attack on an asteroid field. Still, this is so ridiculously cool, thought Naruto with a grin while slashing one of the drones with a katana construct. Sparks flew from the severed machine as it spiraled out of control before exploding in a burst of light. 2814.4. What are you smiling for? This ain't no holiday, Puzzer. You think the enemy's gonna wait around while you enjoy yourself? Get your head in the game, screamed Kilowog, causing Naruto to blush from embarrassment. Ha ha ha. The flesh bag got scolded, mocked another Lantern that was next to Naruto. While smashing against a wall two of the drones, he looked like his body was made of pure orange lava and was wearing a full green bodysuit. His name was Goran-san, a Zetsite, a race of beings of living lava and GL recruit of Sector 563. Don't be mean, Goran, you know Naru is sensitive, answered a woman with gray skin and 5 tentacles by hair. She had green eyes with a dark scara and was wearing the typical Green Lantern uniform with some weird goggles in her hair. She was 2681795 or 26, an American and GL recruit of Sector 916. I'm not sensitive, Naruto shot back while evading the blast of the drones mid-air. I just, got distracted for a second. Sure you aren't? 26 teased with a sly grin, her tentacle-like hair waving as she easily dodged an incoming drone before shooting it with a laser rifle. Drone exploded into a shower of sparks, the shards whizzing past her as she turned to flash Naruto a knowing smile. I still destroyed more drones than either of you, Naruto boasted, flashing a playful grin as he maneuvered through the chaotic battlefield. He spun around, effortlessly avoiding another volley of laser fire from a drone before punching it with a green punch construct. Careful, Naruto, your ego might be too big to fit in your ring, said a small, brown squirrel wearing a miniature Green Lantern uniform. He was CHP, the GL recruit of Sector 1014. Don't be such a party pooper, CHP replied Naruto. Yeah, Naru is right. Thanks, Arisia. Even though I'm the one with the biggest body count, you're still decent, Arisia declared with a smirk before creating a massive construct, a sweeping net of energy that ensnared several drones at once, crushing them under its force. She was a young woman with orange skin and blonde hair and a pixie cut, with green eyes and with 2 pointy elf-like ears, and was wearing the typical Green Lantern uniform. She was Arisia Rab of Graxos 4 GL recruit of Sector 2815. Come on, did you really think I'm gonna let any of you have bragging rights over me? After all, it seems I'm the superior GL. Show off, Goran muttered under his breath, his molten orange eyes narrowing slightly as he watched Arisia's net construct collapse the remaining drones into twisted metal. Simulation finished, echoed a calm, automated voice across the training room. The drones stopped firing, and the asteroid field began to dissolve into streams of green light, returning the room to its neutral, metallic state. Line up, Puzzers! Kilowog's booming voice cut through the stillness, making the room feel like it shook from the force. The recruits snapped to attention, quickly forming a neat line. Naruto found his place between Goran-san and 26, still catching his breath. He could feel Kilowog's eyes scrutinizing each of them, his gaze like a weight pressing down on their shoulders. No one dared to speak, they all stood with disciplined rigidity, their uniforms gleaming under the bright overhead lights. After all, the GL Corps did ask discipline on his recruits. Kilowog paced back and forth in front of them. Oh, how he liked the fear in Puzzer eyes in the morning. Congratulations, Puzzers, he began, voice dripping with a mix of sarcasm and begrudging approval. It's the first time since I met your sorry asses that you didn't make me want to send you back to all of your sorry planets, but don't start patting yourselves on the back just yet. Kilowog's eyes narrowed, his expression as hard as ever. You're still a long way from being genuine Green Lanterns, Puzzers. You're sloppy, impulsive, reckless, he barked, his words sharp as the edge of a construct blade. And that's me being polite. You think just cause you survived a little simulation, you're ready for the real fight? Newsflash, Puzzers. You still got a long way to go, so get your act together. Dismissed. Yes, sir! The recruits shouted in unison, their voices echoing through the room. The recruits let out a collective breath they didn't realize they'd been holding, tension easing from their shoulders. Naruto glanced around at his squadmates. 26 was already stretching her arms, Goran-san had a wry grin on his molten face, and CHP scampered off with a flick of his bushy tail. Arisia gave Naruto a quick, supportive nod, her expression somewhere between encouragement and amusement. "Guys, you know what that means, right?" said Arisia. "We not only passed, but Sergeant Kilowog just gave us a compliment." "That literally never happened," said Arisia excitedly. "It seems strange that you're surprised after all we have been drilling and training for this scenario like 1,000 times," said 26. She was after all a logical person, and she knows the whole squad worked hard for this test. Hard work x time equals success, simple as that. Goran's son crossed his arms, a low rumble emanating from his molten form. "Still, you gotta admit it's nice to hear something other than you're all a bunch of useless posers for once. Is at least better than training CQC with Lantern 2, right?" Goran said. CHP, all the squad mates winced collectively, the memory of Lantern 2's grueling lessons still fresh in their minds. "Ugh, don't remind me," Goran's son grumbled, his molten body seeming to ripple with discomfort. "That was torture. I swear, she has a vendetta against anyone who can't punch through walls with their bare hands. Remember the time she and Kilowog made us fight in that active volcano?" "Why are you complaining? You're literally lava," Naruto pointed out with a chuckle. "You weren't part of the roasted alive team." "Is the spirit of the thing," retorted Goran. "Still, I beat your ass." "We both have a really different memory of that day, Namikaze." "Come on, guys, tell me you guys aren't excited we finally earned our lanterns," said Arisia while pointing at the white circle they all had on their chests. Naruto understood what Arisia meant. The GLC training is divided in two parts. The first one is the theoretical training, a time in which a young recruit learns how to use his ring and his responsibilities and duties as a Green Lantern. The cadets during that time are known as white circles because they lack the symbol of GLC in their chest. It was close to 4 months in Earth time. 1. The second and final part is the practical training. After being given their lanterns, the probationary lanterns are assigned duties around OA for at least 2 months of Earth time. If they meet the standards, they are officially given the rank of Green Lantern. So yeah, he can see why Arisia was excited. "Okay, maybe it is a little cool," said Naruto. "Correction," Arisia said, her eyes gleaming with excitement. "It's the coolest, exploring uncharted territory, kicking butt in space, and protecting the weak. This is what we trained for." 26 nodded thoughtfully, her logical mind processing the reality of their situation. "And it's what we'll continue training for, Arisia." "Well, it's not like she's wrong," added Goran's son. "In my case, I'm dying for some action." "See? Goran gets it," said Arisia. "All our hard work has finally paid off. We are finally going to do real GL work, and the whole universe will know one thing: we are ready for anything." "Those puzzers aren't ready for squat," Kilowog bellowed, slamming his fist onto the table for emphasis. Purple jelly splattered onto his companion, another Green Lantern with an avian physique, a beak on his face, and a fin on his head. His name was Tomari, Green Lantern of Sector 2813 and one of the most decorated lanterns in the GLC. "Sorry, Tomar," Kilowog grumbled. "It's just this batch is so immature, undisciplined, reckless, sloppy," Tomari finished, brushing the sticky remnants of lunch off his uniform. "Totally unfit for duty." "Exactly," Kilowog agreed, nodding emphatically. Tomari sighed, his beak clicking softly as he regarded Kilowog. "You do realize that you say the same thing every time any white circle finishes their theoretical training, right? And then you start moping." "I do not mope," Kilowog shot back, clearly offended. "Yes, you do," Tomari countered, a hint of amusement in his voice. "Just like a hatchling before they learn to walk. Honestly, Hal Jordan is right, you're what Earthlings call a worrywart." "I'm not a worrydart. Whatever that is. Let's start with this batch. We have a Zetzite who is both the first person ever in leave his planet and a literal hothead, an American that have the social skill of a calculator, a lantern that is small enough that half of the Corps could us him as a snack and the last two well. And now we got to the real problem." "They are just kids," exclaimed Kilowog. "According to John, that Naruto kid can't even buy a drink on his own, and now he is supposed to be fighting criminals across the galaxy, is insane. Did you know that it took me weeks of training just to taught him how to make a construct that doesn't destroy half of the hazard room, and Rab seemed to believe that she is invincible." "Well, she was groomed by her father to be his successor her entire life," Tomari pointed out calmly. "And Jordan did spoke highly of Naruto. And that if that is not what the humans call a red flag, I don't know what that is," snorted Kilowog. "Just another Earthling but that I need to babysit." "Aren't you being too harsh? They just want to serve and for age well, and Zutter both of them would in the age in which they could enlist in the army or join the police force if they really want to. You train them and I'm sure that given the chance they will use their ring responsibly and with discipline." Kilowog grumbled, crossing his arms. I hope you're right because frankly I'm sick of seeing good kids die too. The Guardians of the Universe, a race so old that they even when intelligent life started to first appear on Earth they were already billion of years old, the leaders, masters and creators of the Green Lantern Corps. aka the Green Lantern bosses. Naruto and his squad were waiting outside the Guardians' chamber to finally receive their lanterns, the symbol in their chests that will tell the universe that we're part of their protectors. Naruto leaned on a wall for his own commodity, and saw his teammates and friends. Personally, he did enjoy his time in boot camp. Yeah, it was harsh and brutal, but they also had their good times. Like when they had to do a survival exercise on a jungle planet, and cuddled on Gorin for body heat, or 2-6 patiently helping him cram for their exams. Even CHP had his moments like when he decided to rest on his shoulder so he doesn't have to walk. And then there was Arisia. Naruto's gaze shifted to the blonde Graxosian, her orange skin glowing softly under the lights of the hallway. If Naruto was 100% honest, she was probably her best friend, well, at least in space, and he isn't 100% sure that Kilowog wouldn't have made him wash out if it wasn't for her. I mean, she helped him in learning how to make functional constructs. She is also nice, funny, and then there was the way her elf-like ears twitched when she was deep in thought, a detail Naruto found oddly endearing. And yeah, maybe he had noticed that she had a cute butt too. Wait, where did that come from? Naruto felt a blush creep up his cheeks, his thoughts scattering as he tried to shake off the unexpected realization. Snap. Arisia's fingers snapped in front of his face, pulling him back to reality. Naru, come on! The Guardians are calling us. Naruto blinked, snapping out of his daze. Sorry, I spaced out for a second. I guess I'm a little nervous. What about you? A little, yeah, I mean being a GL is a huge responsibility, but I'm also really excited. I've been dreaming for this moment since I was a little girl and I couldn't be happier of sharing this with you, Naru, said Arisia with a blush on her face. Arisia. And the guys too, obviously, Arisia added quickly, her blush deepening as she tried to play it off. Yeah, we wouldn't have made it here without them. They've all been great.